They're entering the field of play at the Civic Center, where tonight the largest crowd ever, better than 12,000, will watch them in Game 5 of the Major Indoor Soccer League Championship Series. There has been a major cause for celebration so far. And keep your eyes on these men, because they are ready for just one more huge celebration. As we get ready for Game 5 of the Major Indoor Soccer League Championship Series, we can look back on the past few games and see that there have been many, many heroes for the Baltimore Blast. Not only Heinz Wirtz, but Pat Ercole and Dave McWilliams. They have supplied so many special moments. The passing between the Blast players who have played a long, hard season has also been superb. Mike Stankovic finding that even goals can be a painful experience. Stan Stamenkovic not finding himself open many times, but with only a sliver of hope, feeding goals like this to Pat Ercole with a brilliant pass. And then truly the climax of the series. Just a couple of nights ago in St. Louis, one of the most exciting games the MISL playoffs have ever seen. It is sudden death overtime, and Stan Stamenkovic for the moment out of the play, and then an instant later, the hero. The Blast winners in overtime. They lead the 3 games to 1. Chip for Kenny Cooper. Live from downtown Baltimore, Channel 13 presents Game 5 of the MISL Championship Series between the Steamers and the Baltimore Blast. The Civic Center is getting ready, and you can hear the fans will be ready for Game 5 of the championship series. We're live at the Civic Center downtown as the Blast carry a 3 games to 1 lead into what could be tonight their very first MISL championship. Tonight's game is being brought to you by Lowenbrau. When you want the taste of a truly great beer tonight, let it be Lowenbrau. And by Legum Chevrolet Nissan Direct Outlet. The only way to beat Legum's price is to build it yourself. I'm Al Troutwig along with Lou Tilley. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Civic Center. It's dark now, but believe me, the fireworks will be flying in just a few short moments. One thing, Lou, I think the Blast should remember is that they were the St. Louis Steamers last year. They lost both games in San Diego in the championship series and came back and won both games here, sending San Diego back home. That's exactly the way the Steamers must feel.
And the difference is that St. Louis has to come to Baltimore to win one, Al. I think if they take the series back to St. Louis on Sunday, we could have a problem. And Kenny Cooper is well aware of that. And anytime you talk about the Blast, you can't get away from this craziness that we're going to have tonight. We haven't had a sellout all year long during the playoffs, and tonight the largest crowd in Blast history is expected, and Kenny Cooper is at an emotional high. You just almost hope they don't come out too high, Alan, and keep it under control and just get out of the first quarter. If they do, I think they'll be all right and go on to wrap the thing up tonight.
A little bit more about tonight's Game 5, but right now Lou Tilley has a report on what's happened so far in the series.
The first time through Crabtown, it was the visitors from St. Louis raining on our parade. Jeff Cacciatore stole a pass, and his empty net goal turned the tide, and St. Louis steamrolled their way to a 7-3 upset of the Blast in Game 1 of the best-of-7 series. 2 nights later, Game 2, and a similar affair. The talented, hustling Steamer defense frustrating the Blast attack, who had to go back to the basic digging inside for 2 key second-half goals. And in the most controversial play of the series, Bob McEvan's pass appeared to bounce off the Blast trainer Bob Baldwin out of play before coming back in and leading to Pat Ercole's winning goal. 5-3 the final as the Blast evened the series at a game apiece. It was on to the gateway city, St. Louis, and a national television audience saw Baltimore's Joey Fink pick himself off the scrap heap and score the first, third, and fifth goals. Mike Stankovic continued his outstanding offensive play with 2 tallies, as Scott Manning turned in the series' best individual performance to date with 30 saves in the nets as the Blast turned the series around with a 5-2 win. And so it was, trailing 2 games to 1, that St. Louis faced a must-win game Wednesday night at the arena. However, a bad sign early when Baltimore's Stan Stamenkovic broke out of a series-long drought to score his first goal of the championship play and the first goal of the night. However, the Steamers exploded for 2 goals in the opening 2 minutes of the second half and took their first lead in 7 periods of play at 4-3. But with time running down, Stomankovich weaves his magic to Pater Coley. The header and his third goal of the night tied the game at 4. St. Louis makes a bid to win in regulation, but Scott Manning makes the save of the series on Diego Pesa in tight. On they go to overtime, and there, Stankovic and Stomankovich bring a Yugoslavian brew to boil.
Shooting, it's blocked in front. Gets his own rebound. It's in. Stan Stomankovich has ended it.
Unbelievable. Look at the run around.
Well, it's very difficult to get used to sudden death overtime goals. On the negative side for St. Louis, a gut-wrenching experience. It happens so quick, you really never know what to feel or say.
Almost for the winners as well. Bellinger, after the game, an interesting comment, Al, said, I think we played as well as we played all year long. All year long. We threw everything we had at them, and we lost. And whether or not that has an effect on St. Louis's psyche tonight remains to be seen. If it does, and with this crowd at a fever pitch, it could be over in a hurry.
And Don Ebert said of the St. Louis Steamers as well, it was the worst loss of his entire life. Chris O'Donoghue is alongside with us tonight, and Chris has a report on something else that has something to do with the Major Indoor Soccer League Championship Series. Chris?
May 29, 1980, the birth of the Baltimore Blast, as MISL indoor soccer comes to Charm City for the first time. Interest was quickly generated as local kids tried out for this new franchise, and 7,100 fans witnessed the home opener on November 29, 1980 versus the Philadelphia Fever. Result, Blast wins 10-7. After a winning maiden season, the Blast organization quickly went about the business of establishing themselves solidly in the Baltimore community, setting up summer kick soccer camps for kids aged 6 to 16, sending players out on public appearances, attracting corporate sponsors.
The Blast organization, very solid. We like a winner.
And putting on spectacular pre-game shows that initiated a love affair between the team and their fans that has blossomed into the successful franchise they are today. Witness the consistent growth in performance and attendance the Blast has experienced in their 4 years in Baltimore. Coming closer every year to that ultimate goal of an MISL championship, losing to San Diego in 1983 in the final game 3-1. And now in 1984, with the addition of top-rated stars Kitson Machia Kunevats and Stan the Magician, the Blast tonight find themselves one game away from the realization of their dream.
Certainly hoping to repeat that scene tonight. Interesting switch for the Blast in goal tonight. And Lou and I will be back to tell you more about that and talk about some other key players in tonight's Game 5 of the MISL Championship. The Blast in search of a party. We'll be back in a moment.
Have you ever seen so many clams? It's incredible.
Here's to good friends.
Wow, look at the size of that.
Night's kind of special. Beer will pour.
This is the only way to go shopping.
Must say something more somehow.
I think Linda picked up some long brows.
So tonight.
Now tell me, how are we going to top this?
Tonight.
We got all summer to try.
Let it be low and raw.
Hey, what you up to?
I'm building a car. This is my baby.
But why?
To beat Legum's price.
Did you shop around?
You mean run around? Believe me, there's only one way to beat Legum's price. You gotta build it yourself.
Legum's got 84 Nissans for under $5,000. Maybe the only way to get it cheaper is build it yourself.
Yeah. Isn't she beautiful? Maybe I better read the directions.
Let me. Legum Chevrolet Nissan, 7900 Eastern Avenue, Beltway exit 38 West.
This month, we're having a spectacular $3.99 a box sale on 24 delicious Murray's products, including cubed beef steaks, veal steaks, pizza steaks, char burgers, meatballs, veal parmesan, sausage patties, and many, many more. All $3.99 a box. How do we do it? I'm Mr. Murray, and what I say goes. There's never been a better time to buy a box of Murray's, and at these prices, they're going fast.
Give me some fun in the blazing sun. Give me a friend or two. And when my thirst is at its worst, give me a Mountain Dew. Oh, do it, do it, do it, do it, Mountain Dew. Do it, do it, do it, do it, cool and smooth. And I got a thirst. Quench it, drench it, smooth it, cool it, do it, Mountain Dew.
Back at the Civic Center in Baltimore, I'm Al Troutwig along with Lou Tilley. Lou, just a couple of quick comments about some of the key players that we're going to see in tonight's game. First for the Blast.
Well, for the Blast, Keith Van Aaron will be in goal, as we mentioned just before the breakout. And this is a little bit of a change because Scott Manning bidding to possibly be the playoff MVP, but he asked out willingly, and he will sit on the bench tonight. And Keith Van Aaron, who won Game 2 against St. Louis, will be in the nets tonight.
And in goal for the St. Louis Steamers, an old veteran. He can really give you gray hairs if you're the coach of his team. Slobo Ilievsky, the #1 goalkeeping star of the MISL this past season, but he is still nursing a very sore shoulder. He will be in goal tonight for St. Louis.
Tim Whitman is a native Baltimorean. His dad is here. He's just 20 years old. He scored 20 goals in the regular season. I'm looking for him to possibly be a breakthrough player tonight for the Blast.
The St. Louis Steamers also will look up front for some offensive help from Don Ebert, who was a Rookie of the Year 4 years ago. As we look at Steve Petcher, Steve Petcher will not be here tonight for the St. Louis Steamers. Steve has had a disagreement with the coach, Dave Clements, and he, in his own words, said, I'm off to Florida, the heck with this series. And an all-star defender, the Steamers will be without.
Swart certainly has not gone south. He has been the glue that holds this club together defensively and sometimes offensively to break the St. Louis zone. He'll be in there for the Blast tonight.
Now we can look offensively up front for the St. Louis Steamers and talk about the former Rookie of the Year, Don Ebert. Now, Ebert up front is one of the most dangerous players in the league. Although, as I mentioned already, he said that the loss in Game 4 was the most difficult he's ever had to face in his entire career. We'll see if the Steamers can rebound emotionally tonight.
And maybe even more than Stan Stamenkovich, I think that Mike Stankovic, the big bruising midfielder for the Blast, who assisted on Stamenkovich's winning goal, has been the difference in this series. His one-on-one skills at midfield just too much, admittedly, for St. Louis to handle.
Now, the St. Louis Steamers bring with them only 4 defenders here tonight. That means a little overtime work for players like Tony Bellinger, another one of the experienced original 5 defenders for the St. Louis Steamers, of which they will only have 3 here tonight. 2 of them left home with injuries.
Stan Stamenkovich, Stan the Magic Man, shut out all year by St. Louis, scored 2 in the last game, including the overtime winner in Game 4.
And up front for St. Louis again, a very important player, number 7, Daryl Duran. He's been quick, he's been very impressive, and he's been very dominant on the soccer ball. It's been very difficult for Baltimore to stop him.
Pater Coley up front, 3 goals in the last game, the leading playoff scorer. We're just about ready to go. And for the Steamers,
the final player up front that we will see is Sam Bick, a very important player on defense as well. Look for his number 17 because you will be seeing it quite often.
And we're just about set for the kickoff of tonight's 5th game of the MISL Championship season series. The Blast ahead 3-1, looking to close out the Steamers here tonight. We're all set for the play-by-play. Al Troutwig with the call.
There is a cloud of smoke hanging over the Civic Center from the pregame celebration, and on we go. Heinz Wirtz testing Slobo Ilievsky. And the Blast wasting absolutely no time and taking the ball inside the St. Louis zone. Here's Don Ebert. Ebert inside for Timmy Walters. .14:33 to go, just underway in the opening quarter. And Neil Cohen. Remember, Keith Van Aaron in nets tonight for Baltimore. Scott Manning showing really what kind of teamwork goes into this Blast effort. Manning's, I would like to have a rest if this does go to game 6 and 7, but I also think that Keith deserves a chance to win this thing and win it at home.
Van Aaron 9-0 in the Civic Center this year, Al, and indeed beat St. Louis in Game 2 after the Blast had dropped the opener. Gave a real shot in the arm.
You can hear Tim Whitman and Timmy Walters crash up against the boards, and the Blast get the benefit of that call. Out comes Heinz Wirtz for Dave McWilliams, the captain of the Blast, letting that one go out to Joey Fink. Fink's so important in Game 3 with the hat trick. What a shot by Fink, a sidewinder that Slobo did well to stop.
I think just such a skilled player. He talks often about his relationship with Rodney Marsh, now the coach of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and how Rodney kind of changed his career with his emphasis on shooting and shooting technique and his accuracy, and it was evident there.
I think it's important to note that for the St. Louis Steamers, you have to feel that emotionally they are tenuous. There will 13:16 to go. We may be having some audio problems here, so just bear with us at the start. Mike Stankovic now across for Juan Carlos Mejia. Stankovic, the Iron Man of the last game. Just to finish the thought for the Steamers, if they don't score first, they may just crumble. It depends on how strong they are emotionally coming into the game.
Well, they sure can't be flat. They can't afford to be flat. And you'd expect that Dave Clements will send his runners out early on to try and get something going.
Stankovic fires. Ercole had a chance with a wide open net. And Pat, who was one of the superstars of Game 4, came up empty. One thing about Slobo, Lou, is that he forces you to think that you have to take the perfect shot.
Yeah, he almost gives you a side, knowing that you'll go to the open space and then cover it up. Watch here. He does a nice job to get across on Ercole, but he's down low, and Pat was inaccurate with the shot. If he'd gone up high, he would have had a goal.
Ilyievsky has his outlet pass deflected. And with 12:33 to go, the Steamers will start things off with a free kick. Ray Kunovat's back for the Blast, and he just sends it all the way the length of the field. This will not be a three-line violation.
Ray was a doubtful starter. Kunovat's in there on defense right now. He turned an ankle in Game 4 at St. Louis. But typical of the Blast attitude tonight to pull out all the stops. To further expand on Scott Manning and taking himself out for tonight's Game 5, Keith Van Aaron in there. I guess it's a sign of maturity, too, Al. He says he's a little bit burnt. He admits to that. A little bit burnt out mentally after the 2 games in St. Louis, and maybe this is for the best of the team.
Right through the box, followed up, and Keith Van Aaron scoops it off the turf. And a whistle inside the Blast penalty area. And referee Bill Maxwell, the Scotsman from Geneseo, New York. Dangerous play, I think I heard the call from Bill Roth, the PA announcer.
Yeah.
No score, just underway, first quarter.
But again, the pass that Van Aaron came up firing sent Stamenkovic away on a pretty good break up field.
KVE came in Game 2 of the series and got the Blast what they needed, a win. And that was a tremendous boost to his confidence. Keith has faced the pressure situation so many times, and the Blast are hoping that he comes up for them again tonight. Still no score. Mike Stankovic trying to get around Daryl Duran, but nothing doing.
Someone's got to put a handle on Stankovic, as we mentioned in the player introductions in our previews of the key matchups. Mike Stankovic has been just about unstoppable, especially when out there teamed with Stan Stamenkovic. St. Louis has been double teaming the Magician, and it's led Stankovic to roam free.
Stankovic feeding in the slot, and Kunovat's unable to get the shot away. The Blast can win the MISL championship with a victory here tonight. Nicely played by Juan Carlos Mejia. Gets around Daryl Duran. Mejia pulls it away from Redmond Lane. Feeding Stamenkovic. Stan shoots. Kick saved by Slobo.
Sneaky little shot. Slobo didn't give much to shoot at, but Stan got the shot away when he didn't expect it and almost beat him between the legs.
Super offensive play by a man who used to play up front until the former coach of the Arrows, Don Popovich, moved Juan Carlos Mejia to defense.
This is where Stan Stamenkovic is so effective. He gave the little look left, and then he threw it right through the defender legs and almost beat Slobo on the downside.
Back live, Blast in control, and Tony Bellinger sweeps it away. Another whistle.
All righty. Max the Axe already doing some finger pointing. Max Thompson, number 9 for the Blast down there, and he'll get a warning from Maxwell after the finger pointing. Bellinger went by, gave him an elbow, said sorry Max, but Max stuck the forefinger in his eye and said enough of that.
10 minutes, 54 seconds. Tony Bellinger, 4 goals, 5 assists in the playoffs so far. The Steamers only going with 4 defenders tonight. Steve Petcher, their captain, abandoning his team literally in the championship series. A black mark for Steve in doing that. Ty Keogh, another one of their experienced playoff performers, is home with a bad ankle that he knocked up in game 4.
Let's recap Petcher again, Al. It was a long brewing feud between he and Coach Dave Clemens that goes back to the start of the playoffs. He thought he was healthy. They sat him down. And what exactly did he say when he was benched in game 4? I don't care. I'm going to Florida.
Yeah.
That'll certainly do well when the next contract comes up.
What a night for Baltimore. Just about 10% of the metropolitan area city at a sporting event tonight. Better than 12,000 here, better than 50,000 at the stadium.
That's right. I figure 250, 300,000 on their way to Ocean City. I don't know who's whom and watching.
I was joking, it's a night for the burglars. Nobody's home.
No, I know.
I'm Al Troutwig along with Lou Tilley. Chris O'Donoghue is along with us tonight. Don Ebert takes a slow bouncer in the corner for the Steamers. Ebert out for Larry Hulser, seeing limited action in the playoffs, only his 2nd appearance in the championship series. Fink can't get it out. And up into the crowd we go with 10 minutes to go in the first quarter. Still no score. It'll be a Blast free kick. Blast came out in the opening seconds. Heinsvert's ripping one in, and then Joey Fink following with a beautiful shot on Slobo Ilievsky, but we are still scoreless. Blast losing game 1 and then winning 3 in a row.
For a woe. No question they played better on the road at St. Louis. St. Louis has been more effective in games 1, which they were victorious in game 2, which they lost in the late stages.
Fink with a chance. Almost knocked in by a rebounding St. Louis Steamer. Here comes McWilliams. It's in. It counts. The goal is good. The goal is good.
Boy, Slobo Ilievsky committed the cardinal sin in all of sports, Alan. You never, ever stop until you hear a whistle. Now, Slobo Ilievsky thought the play should have been stopped here on a pulling foul against Dave McWilliams. He stopped, walked to the left side of the area, and while he did, the ball is scooting past him into the goal. An unforgivable sin. Right there. Watch Slobo. He makes the call and stops on the ball, and McWilliams goes ahead and pokes it into the goal. Incredible. Incredible. The kind of mental laxity that will cost the Steamers and ended in a hurry tonight.
Gino DiPolito talking things over with Don Ebert of the Steamers. You can imagine the frustration for St. Louis right now, seeing their all-star goaltender put his hand up in the air to stop play, letting the goal count.
And as a result, I believe, drew a foul or a penalty for arguing too strenuously. I can't see the box from here.
Well, reading Gino DiPolito's lips, it was dissent against number 13, Tim Walters of St. Louis. Not against that man, Don Ebert.
Inexcusable. Here is a team that has been the picture of fundamental play all year long. Now their captain deserting them, as you say. And 34-year-old, the veteran, best goalkeeper in the league this year, Slobo Ilievsky. I can't believe what I just saw. And now the Blast with a power play on top of that. My goodness.
Emotional chaos right now for the St. Louis Steamers.
Well, they're certainly a team in chaos. I'd be stunned if they somehow are able to pull this together and win the game from what we've seen so far.
Little Jeff Cacciatore doing a good job of killing off some power play seconds here. 1 minute 45 seconds to go. The Blast go with Kitson, Heinsverts, Stan Stamenkovich, and Pat Ercole. Up front is Dave McWilliams, who got credit for the goal.
Oh!
Off the crossbar from Kitson. Stamenkovic. Beating McWilliams. And Slobo scoops it up. A big Slobo boo-boo. And the Blast lead it 1-0.
That's inexcusable. I just can't get over it.
Heinz Wirtz brings the Blast up to the St. Louis red line. 1 minute to go in the power play. 8.5 to go in the first quarter. Stamenkovic, the overtime winner in the last game, the hero. A break for Wirtz. Another kick save by Slobo Ilievsky. Slobo's come up with some big saves. Ercole. Good ball control, couldn't get open.
Blast on the power play to this point, 15 for 41.
Emotional atmosphere at the Civic Center tonight. Daryl Duran stops the Blast attack. 30 seconds to go in the power play for Baltimore. Heinz Wirtz, maybe one more charge. Paul Kitson being challenged by Jeff Cacciatore. The feed is to Stamenkovic, the magic man, back out to the point. McWilliams trying to change the field of play quickly, left to right.
You got to do that, Al, especially on the small playing field here at the Civic Center.
Now the St. Louis Steamers have lost what has been one of their hugest advantages in the series so far, and that is playing with a lead. They've lost it early.
Indeed, Al, they've only had one lead in the last 9 quarters of play in this series.
J.C. Machia.
Whoops. I think looking for Heinz Wirtz, and he was heading out. Mike Stankovic on. You know, you mentioned the electric atmosphere, Alan. There's no question it's built here since Game 4, which we televised back to Baltimore. And in effect, I think they're all on hand to reward the Blast and Kenny Cooper for a couple of great years of effort. But the game's got to be won first.
Another point to make, and it's no secret for anyone that walked outside tonight. It is hot in the Civic Center tonight. We'll be back in a moment as the first quarter continues on Channel 13.
With little or no down payment at Legum Chevrolet, you can drive away in a Chevy Chevette with factory air conditioning for only $39.84. $39.84 full price.
At first, I couldn't believe it, but Legum really does have Chevy Chevettes just like this one for just $39.84. And they're air conditioned.
That's right. If Legum says it, you can believe it. Drive away in a fully equipped Chevy Chevette with factory air conditioning for only $39.84 at Legum Direct Outlet, 7900 Eastern Avenue.
At the Civic Center, a mad scramble in the neutral third to gain possession. Blast have it. Stankovic feeds Machia. Machia gets around one defender, dumps it into Stamenkovic. Ercole feeds Mike Stankovic. What a brilliant connection those two made in the last game. It wound up to be a header goal for Ercole. No whistle on the play. Will continue. Stamenkovic stopped by Don Draghi. And Redmond Lane cannot weave through or around Mike Stankovic. Ercole. Slobo comes up with the save and then covers on the rebound. I'll say one thing, the Blast have been testing Mr. Slobo Ilievsky quite early.
Stan Stamenkovic goes off limping a little bit.
That one into the crowd, deflected by a Blast player.
I think Slobo has acquitted himself very well since coming off the bench after Billy Phillips started the first 3. Here's a good example. Again, Al, they've been shooting low on Slobo in the 2 games he's appeared against the Blast. He's coming off the injured shoulder, and it is painful still for him to dive. They're shooting down at Slobo a little bit.
You'll see those bright flashes quite often on the replays. That is because Sports Illustrated is here tonight, and they have hooked up strobe flashes in the ceiling, and they illuminate the entire building, in effect.
For when they take their individual still shots.
Yeah. In the slot, McWilliams feeding a racing Tim Whitman. Whitman ahead of the pack. The shot deflected by a retreating Diego Pesa. And Ilievsky waits before he refeeds it to the man who just blocked the shot moments ago. Diego Pesa. Timmy Walters juking on Max Thompson. Thompson wasn't falling for any of it. Out comes Heinz Burks. 3-on-3. Crossfield for Fink. Fink coming in on Slobo.
Now they're pointing to the sidelines again. I think they thought that play should have been stopped again. When Fink muscled his way down the boards, a foul may have been called, but play allowed to continue on the advantage. Whatever, it was obvious that Slobo wasn't at the top of his game.
Two strange ones, that's for sure.
Now here's the possible foul. And they're looking for the call. Everybody gives up on the ball, and Slobo gives away the near post.
Absolutely. Watch Neil Cohen. This is a reverse angle.
Yeah, Cohen gives up. Look at him. Makes no play on the ball whatsoever. Slobo's left all by himself, but he's hung out to dry, and Allen, he left up a lot of net. He gave a lot of net to Fink, and you can't to Joe Fink. Incredible. Well, we talked about the problems of mental laxity or laxness before this game, and it certainly come to play here in the first quarter.
Oh, the Steamers mentally right now must be a mess. Blast lead at 2-0. The game continues in a moment.
Welcome to Miller time.
At Miller High Life, time is everything. Beer drinkers come to us because we've been brewing in extra quality for the last 129 years. That's a lot of our time. But it's the reason you spend your time with us when you want the best beer you can find. Miller High Life.
Welcome to Miller time.
Kenny Cooper pacing in front of the bench, listening to him speak before the game. His voice was almost breaking. It is an emotional night for this man. Let's go back and look at what led to the St. Louis Steamers timeout. Boy, do they need to talk things over after this.
Not very pretty. Once Fink whirls down the side, you see the St. Louis defense just stops and says, let's see what Joe can do with this ball.
Nice move by Joe to jump over Slobo.
Very. It's probably the best move of the whole sequence.
We are live downtown at the Civic Center. Better than 12,000 for the very first time here, watching the Blast in hopes of popping the champagne at the end of the evening.
Well, I'll tell you, things don't bode well for St. Louis and their fans. Some of the most faithful in the league. This game is being televised back to St. Louis. Someone ought to remind them.
Now, I don't know what you say to your fans.
Incredible. There's no excuse.
This is their third time in the championship, and to play in a game that's as important as this and to make two crucial mental errors like that is almost inexcusable.
Especially after Game 4. They lost 5-4 in overtime, but I think their fans are very happy with the effort and the play. They may have deserved to win even that night, and to come back like this, it's embarrassing.
Neil Cohen blocked by Max Thompson. A break for Joey Fink. Fink has McWilliams on the left-hand side. Kick save by Slobo.
Joe Fink at his best right there.
Fink, another sidewinder into the crowd. I'll say one thing, when Slobo has half a chance, he's brilliant.
Oh, sure. He's got to be a little embarrassed right now. Fink with a great move. What set it all up was the sharp cut off the right foot to the middle. And Fink equally adept with both feet. The reverse angle here lets it go low again, and Slobo makes the kick save with the right foot.
2-0, last lead.
And you know, Al, the Blast, I was worried they might come out too pumped up, but their shots have been very accurate, under control. They're showing the poise.
I think offensively, this is the best they've played in the series so far. Counterattacks have been at top speed. There is no sitting back at all.
Which has been the key to the series since Game 3 in St. Louis, the national TV game that you did, Al, when the Blast unveiled their new counterattack strategy.
Daryl Duran for the St. Louis Steamers. One goal for St. Louis. It's a different game again, but they don't look like they have much spark right now. Super save by Van Aaron, stopping Jeff Cacciatore.
And there's the breakout.
Mike Stankovic, 3-on-2. He fires. Oh! Ercole missed with a brilliant header. And Stankovic misses on the rebound.
Off the post.
What a pass from Mike Stankovic. Down low for Kunevats.
You are watching indoor soccer at its very best, and maybe the most talented club in indoor soccer playing their very best of a great season right now.
Mike O'Mara for Don Draghi. Across to Jeff Cacciatore. Staying with him is Stankovic. Loose in front and swept away. Ercole brings it out. He cannot get around Don Draghi. Draghi was on the golf course in the middle of this series, and he got a phone call from Dave Clements and said, "Come on, Don, we need you." He said, "Can I finish out my 18 holes?" And he did.
Some of the other players look like they're anxious to get out on the links.
2:40 to go, opening quarter of play. Al Troutwig, Lou Tilley, and Chris O'Donoghue live on 13.
Now you see Ercole retreating. He backs up to give some of his line mates a chance to get some fresh legs on there as they get a change, and now they come forward.
Dave McWilliams out for Max Thompson. And the blast maintained. On the line for St. Louis, the championship of the Major Indoor Soccer League. Max Thompson sends a beautiful rebound, but no one home.
Max surprises me sometimes with his speed upfield, but what it is about Max is he doesn't hesitate. He will gamble and go forward and get the extra step just because of his decisive start.
This will be a foul against the Steamers. It is absolutely hot and humid.
You talked about the fireworks and the smoke. It's still hanging up. I'm not sure if that's it or actually there may be a cloud forming inside from the humidity in here. You've seen hockey rinks, Al, in the warm weather and the effect that occurs. It might be happening here.
Well, thank goodness the ice isn't down.
Yeah, or it really would be nasty.
I was at a game in Boston Garden one time where they actually asked the Canadians and the Bruins to skate around the rink to dissipate the fog.
Right.
Players got so tired they said, "Wait a minute, we need a timeout." 1:43 to go now, an opening quarter of play. This is Game 5 of the MISL Championship.
Fans can't see him, but Troutwig still has the top button on his shirt fastened. Very impressive.
I'm just staying in touch with Kenny Cooper.
My tie's down to my belly button now.
Loose in the slot, cleared away by Timmy Walters.
Coop still tied up?
Yep.
Well, he told me that's because Earl Foreman, the commissioner, gets mad at him when he loosens his tie and takes his jacket off.
Well, you can imagine the city of Baltimore will want to tie one on if the Blast win here tonight. They can win it all with a victory here tonight. Slobo Ilievsky.
Whoops.
Out of the protective zone known as the penalty area to Timmy Walters. Way off target for Don Ebert.
Ah, nice move, Max.
A break for Dave McWilliams, the captain. He'll bring it back outside, feeding Heinz Wirtz. Wirtz on a back heel. And now Joey Fink.
Boy, the Blast is, excuse me, the Blast just so confident right now. Poised and loose, and what a difference.
Dave McWilliams spins and fires. Joey Fink corrals the slow roller. Sweeps by Sam Bick, but tripped up on the play. And a free kick upcoming for the Blast. Every seat is gone here at the Civic Center. One more look at the trip. On the reverse angle, Sammy Bick not letting Joey Fink get by at any cost. And this is the scene now live. Gino DiPolito explaining something to Jeff Mantell, the alternate referee. There is actually a three-man crew here, 2 on the field, 1 on the sidelines.
The same crew we had in Game 4 in St. Louis Wednesday night. Something about the fans in the goal areas.
And that is what the problem is here. Something going on in the goal areas.
Hey, about the fans, I think, in the goal area. I think Slobo lodged some complaint with the officials.
Slobo Ilievsky earlier this year, need in the kidney, and if he didn't get to the hospital as quick as he did, the doctors say he may have died. And then he came out and played 45 straight games this year, and then missed a few with a separated shoulder. He's back now, his second performance for the Steamers in the championship series. Heinz Wirtz off the outside of his right foot, kept alive by Mejia, kicked up and loose. McWilliams stays with it, and a whistle against Baltimore. Dangerous play.
Little kick save by Slobo Ilievsky there. The fans may not notice, but it's really an important play, because if he doesn't, the shot itself was not going on goal. It was a crossing pass to a wide open Joe Fink on the right side.
40 seconds to go in the quarter. Don Ebert sends Juan Carlos Mejia in for a close look at the boards. McWilliams getting around Vic. Heinz Wirtz pursued by Larry Hulser. Hulser on the intercept, and Timmy Walters spins the Steamers around. Beautiful back check by Dave McWilliams.
Mack already out of the box with one of his strongest games of the series.
3 seconds to go. Mejia, a long one. Oh! That would have been the perfect capper to a crazy first quarter. Everybody on the field gave up on it.
They almost did the same thing after the first quarter at St. Louis last Wednesday, only it was to Dave McWilliams who originated the pass this time. And Joe Fink is kicking himself. He hit the post on the follow shot.
Fink had the net, and only
off the post.
Some of the quickest reactions in all of soccer. The St. Louis Steamers in the first quarter learning a very painful lesson. Play the whistle. We've heard the whistle. We'll take a break and be back on 13 in a moment.
If adventure has a name.
Put your hand up in the air if you hear me, Chris. Chris, put your hand up in the air if you hear me. We're maybe having a little bit of trouble with Chris O'Donoghue's microphone. We'll work on that and get back in just a moment. Kenny Cooper, St. Louis Blast coach, watching the first quarter of play. The Blast leading the Steamers by a count of 2-0.
Listen to these statistics now, Alan. You're talking about the Blast and maybe its finest offensive performance of the series, and the statistics certainly bear that out. In the opening 15 minutes of play, the Blast sent 17 shots on the goal of Slobo Ilievsky, who was forced to make 11 saves. By contrast, the Steamers got away just 4 on Keith Van Aren, who was forced to make just 1 save. And indeed, with Van Aren in goal in Game 2, the Blast defense set a new MISL playoff record by limiting St. Louis to just 20 shots on goal. 9 saves for Van Aren in the entire game. They're already ahead of that pace. 17-4. You're right. Ilievsky has been sharp, except for the 2 letdowns.
No, that's right, and the Steamers have to feel that if they didn't let down those 2 times, they'd still be tied in this game.
And maybe playing their game, but as we pointed out, it's certainly been the trend that if they get behind, they don't play as effectively. They are a counter-punching, defensive-oriented club that does not come from behind very effectively.
The Blast are hoping that they can send their airline tickets for the return to St. Louis back to their travel agent for a refund. If they win tonight, there will be no more. Only a celebration. Second quarter underway. And Ray Kunovat's on the dump.
It's gone.
It's out of here.
In St. Louis, that ball stays in play. I went over and measured it by hand anyway, and the glass there at that point in St. Louis is a full 2 feet higher than it is here in Baltimore, Al, and the difference in the glass and in the size of the rink make for a different look of the game.
Slobo Ilievsky out of the St. Louis net, hoping to spark the Steamer team. They trail by 2, just underway in the second quarter. Don Draghi for dangerous Daryl Duran. Whoosh. Sounds like a bad guy out of the Wild West. Dangerous Daryl Duran.
Well, he has been, though. He's been their most effective player over the last 3 games.
Keith Van Aaron is in goal tonight for Baltimore. Scott Manning electing to sit down and give Keith a chance to win it at home. There's a lot of mutual admiration and respect and planning between these two. Manning knowing that he needs a rest. And if there's a game 6 or 7, he'll be ready.
I think Scott started 27, Keith 21 in the regular season. And indeed, if the Blast goes on to win, Manning will have 2 wins in the championship series, Van Aaron 2. That would be great, and that would be appropriate.
Redmond Lane straddling the midfield line. The Blast tight defensively. And here comes Mike Stankovic. I don't know where Mike's getting his energy, but it's a huge reserve. Juan Carlos Machia stopped by Diego Pesa.
I'll tell you where he gets his energy. After game 4, the great performance, I said, you just like being in the spotlight, don't you? And he says, oh, yes. I love to be the center of things. I love to be the star.
That's why they call him Hollywood.
Well, some guys turn it on. They do. They love to be the guys in the center of, I'd say, Arnold Palmer, boy. You know, he might hack it up 3 bogeys in a row, but once the red light goes on him, he's at his best.
Van Aaron out for Stamenkovic, who I think had thoughts of feeding Kunevats, but Ray, unfortunately, was heading towards the bench.
You don't want to get too cute now.
Blast going with Stankovic. Max Thompson, a loose one in front. Great save by Van Aaron. Keith coming up with a biggie. Now Stamenkovic back the other way. Stan is dumped.
It's got to be 2. Got to be.
It will not be. It will only be a direct free kick.
Gosh, I'm almost thinking penalty kick there, huh?
It was pretty close. Stamenkovic saw Ercole on the left side all by himself, and just that last touch of the ball out of his reach. And now 10 feet.
Well, they've certainly talked to Gino about this factor since game 4. Oh.
Lewis in front, and Slobo with some help from Timmy Walters. I spoke to the officials today also about that 10 feet.
This is critical, Al. I thought for a minute that maybe the Blast was getting a bit too lax and sloppy. And sure enough, St. Louis got a great opportunity here. And there's a diving kick save by Van Aaron. He's only been tested twice, but made 2 big saves.
Now, what the officials told me was, if a team elects to take a quick kick, which they can in certain instances, well, then it's their tough luck if they don't wait for the official to give them that 10 feet.
In other words, the defender didn't have the chance to get 10 feet away.
Right.
All right.
Now, the player always has the option of saying to the official, I want my 10 feet. 12:19 to go in quarter number 2. Blast lead at 2-0. They win tonight. They are the MISL champions for the very first time. Heinz Wirtz picks up the loose roller and sends it ahead for Dave McWilliams, but Dave was being pushed off the play by Neil Cohen on defense. Ebert. Ebert not comfortable out there. He likes being in the corner.
That's one of the interesting things about a 7-game series, now, although this is only 5 games long, but even we as broadcasters get to see the same clubs over and over again, and you really start to be able to identify tendencies. And that's one of the charms about a long series. Ebert likes to get it in that right corner, a left-footed player. He loves to roll out of the corner, get it on his left foot, wheel and fire.
And the fans get comfortable with the players.
Yeah. I think it's a nice concept, and I'm glad to see the league go to a best-of-7 in the finals. Next year, Al, I don't think we'll be seeing this final series last into early and mid-June. I think they'll do something in the offseason to tighten it up and get the playoffs in by the end of May.
Steamers started off, and they kick it over 3 lines. In the corner, Dave McWilliams has it stolen away by Sam Bick. And the native St. Louisan has it intercepted again by Dave McWilliams. He feeds Joey Fink, who looks for Heinz Wirtz. Wirtz getting away from the double team.
Had McWilliams wide open in the box.
And Wirtz is down and out. a situation here where there was nothing evil intended by Dave McWilliams. Slobo's coming flying out of the box.
Right.
And Neil Cohen just shoved Dave McWilliams out of there. Cooler heads have prevailed. Let's see what happened again.
And here's Hines, who was assaulted. Although, you know, pretty fair play by the St. Louis defender. He went for the ball.
And then right there, Wirtz and McWilliams, I'm sorry, McWilliams and Slobo Ilievsky collide. Slobo seems like he'll be all right.
11:05, the second quarter. The Blast on top 2-0. Things look great, trying to wrap up their first MISL championship.
Ilievsky just hands it right back to Max Thompson.
Yeah, that makes it easy.
That's 3 times in a row now where the Steamers have kicked it almost the length of the field and accomplished nothing. Joey Fink to the Baltimorean, Tim Whitman. Whitman down low to the corner for Dave McWilliams. He scored the first goal of the game. Joey Fink scored the second, and there have been numerous other opportunities for Baltimore to score. Don Ebert, he'll never give up. Neil Cohen pressured by Adrienne Brooks. It's rare that Adrienne sees action in the first half. Kenny Cooper's been saving him for the second. But it is a hot night at the Civic Center and all over the East Coast for that matter.
We've made a couple of comments. Steve Petcher, the captain of St. Louis, not even here. We talked about motivation, their depressed mental attitude. And some people might wonder, how can you do that when you're playing for all that money of a championship in a professional sport? When in fact, this is probably the only major sport of any sort now where the championships means very little, almost nothing to these players who will make something in the area. Great save by Van Aaron, if somewhat unorthodox. But I think they'll only make somewhere in the area of $2,000 a man to the champions of the Major Indoor Soccer League. So money is not the motivating factor here. Pride and competitive spirit really are.
Although to a lot of these players who are making 35, 40, 45, that's their summer vacation. The Major Indoor Soccer League Championship on the line tonight. The Blast leads St. Louis 2-0. We're in the second quarter, and we'll be back.
Just for the rock of it, just for the roll of it. Diet Coke. Just for the look of it, just for the kick of it. The real cola taste of it. Diet Coke. Just for the joy of it. Just for the just for the love of it. Just for the one of it. From Coca-Cola. Just for the taste of it. Diet Coke.
The scoreboard says keep clapping, and the fans here, better than 12,000 at the Civic Center, have listened to what the scoreboard has said. The atmosphere here, a great one tonight. The Blast leading St. Louis 2-0. We're in the second quarter of play with 9:49 to go. Al Trawick, Lou Tilley, Chris O'Donoghue, along with you live from downtown. Pushing against the Blast, and the Steamers take it out. Steamers picking the wrong night to put on their worst performance. Daryl Duran putting on a little bit of a show there, but here comes a 2-on-2, maybe a 3-on-2. Stankovic on the run. A long shot attempted by Machia. Bellinger trapped in the corner, desperately trying to get it out, and he does.
Wide open man.
Cacciatore feeding Mike O'Mara, who comes in, and Van Aaron with a brilliant save.
Well, a quick reaction, no hesitation. Came off his line. An aggressive move by the goalkeeper for the Blast.
Can't say enough about Keith Van Aaron and the saves that he has made when he has been tested.
Watch Van Aaron never hesitates, comes out, and does not allow the St. Louis player a chance to measure and line up the shot.
We will restart play with a kick-in from that line, the kick-in line, 3 feet inside the boards.
I'll tell you another reason that Keith is so effective on that sort of play, Al. Keith is not a spindly, spry type of keeper. He's a big, strong guy who is heavily muscled and a stocky keeper. And when he comes out and puts a tackle on you like that, it's very effective.
St. Louis again pushed deep into their own zone by the pressuring Baltimore Blast. Joey Fink. Out to Adrienne Brooks, who sends it in again, and that one up into the crowd. Dave McWilliams got it all started when he scored in the first quarter when Slobo Ilievsky raised his hand in an effort to stop play, thinking there was a foul. McWilliams didn't stop because there was no whistle. And the Blast then led 1-0. And then an equally strange goal, which we'll recap for you later, by Joey Fink. Van Aaron again. Keith Van Aaron stopping Sam Beck. Front, and I'm just beginning to think, Lou, it's just not in the cards for the St. Louis Steamers.
Fabulous sequence. Van Aaron with a couple of great saves, but a little bit of luck. One that went off of his own player, and looked headed for the nets, and came off the post.
Timmy Walters kicked away by Van Aaron. Loose in front.
Got to be a call there.
And there will be a penalty against a St. Louis Steamer player right on the goal line. Van Aaron taking quite a shot.
And that was a forearm to the neck is what that was, Al. I've seen linebackers do this to wide receivers coming across the middle. Now watch Van Aaron when he gets back up. Here it comes. The forearm right across the neck.
All right, we're in break. We're getting physical at the Civic Center. The Blast still lead 2-0. We'll be back. Keith Van Aaron being attended to.
With little or no down payment at Legum Chevrolet, you can drive away in a Chevy Chevette with factory air conditioning for only $39.84. $39.84 full price.
At first, I couldn't believe it. But Legum really does have Chevy Chevettes just like this one for just $39.84. And they're air-conditioned.
That's right. If Legum says it, you can believe it. Drive away in a fully equipped Chevy Chevette with factory air conditioning for only $39.84 at Legum Direct Outlet, 7900 Eastern Avenue.
The best Blast player on the field so far tonight has been Keith Van Aaron in goal. He has been knocked up and is being attended to by Bobby Baldwin, Blast trainer.
Well, he was just knocked down a minute ago. Duncan McEwen, the player in question, on the line with Van Aaron, trying to obstruct his view, screen him in front, put a forearm into Keith's Adam's apple, and the goalkeeper still down. Now here's the sequence we were talking about from the reverse angle. Nice save by Van Aaron, who kept his feet and was able to knock down a rising shot.
Van Aaron is up, and he's okay, or at least looks okay.
Well, you know, it's got to be one of the most vulnerable points on your body, Al. And I think he caught it right across the Adam's apple in the windpipe and knocked the air out of him.
Ricky Davis on the field right now for the St. Louis Steamers. The bulky midfielder has been bothered by a pulled hamstring. He was the one who took that shot moments ago that Van Aaron made a great save on.
And Davis, who was so very effective against the Blast in the regular season this year, has not been a factor because of the injury throughout the championship series, and it has hurt them offensively.
There was no penalty, by the way, on the injury to Keith Van Aaron sequence. The Blast have the ball. Here's Joey Fink. Fink has it taken away nicely by Diego Pesa and Larry Hulser. Davis in front, stopped by Tim Whitman. The Steamers seem to have come to life with the insertion of Rick Davis in the lineup.
Yeah, Davis playing without any kind of bandage on that injured hamstring at all, and you saw him make a sliding tackle. Tough move with a bad hand.
Larry Hulser dumping it in for Diego Pesa, marked by Tim Whitman. Pesa Dangerous. Neil Cohen with a chance and panic. And then Pesa, his shot blocked by Adrienne Brooks.
Cohen had a wide open cage to shoot into.
Cohen, a defender, not used to being up front and being that open. Here he comes again. A bouncer in front. Cohen still with the ball. And now out comes Adrienne Brooks. It is Ray Kunovats, Tim Whitman, Mike Stankovic, Pat Ercole, and Stan Stamenkovic. Ercole deep in the corner. Out for Stan. Stan with room, still with it. They call a foul on Stamenkovic.
Sort of an offensive foul, yeah.
The Steamers come back on the counterattack. Van Aaron almost beat. But covering up well on the angle. Daryl Duran getting around Ercole, knocked away by Stankovic in the crease. And Don Draghi sends it up into the crowd.
Well, Van Aaron a little bit fooled on this bouncer off the leg of Pesa. It may have been touched. Yeah, it was redirected by the Blast defender Machia. And Keith had to be quick, cat-like, to react and move to his left to make the save.
Keith Van Aaron will restart. We have 5 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the first half of play. Lastly, the St. Louis Steamers 2-0. The Blast win tonight. The MISL championship is theirs. In effect, in a strange occurrence, there is no defending champion this year. Blast lost it last year to San Diego, and San Diego returned to the NASL. But they wish they hadn't.
Yeah.
A break for Ercole, slapped up in the air by Ilievsky. His hands are so quick.
Well, he played that extremely well, Al. He never gave up his position on the near post. Ercole coming down, had Stankovic breaking down the middle wide open, and I'm thinking Pat's going to cross with a pass to Stankovic. Instead, he took the shot, and Slobo never budged.
The Magic Man to start things off again. Instead, it comes out to Pat Ercole. Traffic jam along the boards. Stamenkovic beating Machia. And now a tight pressure St. Louis defense. Trying to slow the Blast attack down. 5 minutes to go in the half. Stamenkovic spinning inside, still spinning. Great save by Ilievsky. Stan.
One or two jukes too many.
A magic show in the slot. Don Draghi for the Steamers. A bouncer in front, back to Draghi. 4.5 to go. Walters picked up by Stankovic. The man the Steamers say they have no clue as to how to stop.
Shows.
Don Ebert.
Now here's Stankovic now. What makes him so effective, Al, is he has good speed, he has good size, he has it all.
Stankovic coming in. The cross for Ercole. Spinning. Goal!
Those two right there, Mike Stankovic and Pat Ercole, have combined for some of the prettiest goals that you'll ever see in this series against St. Louis. You catch the tail end of it there, Ercole with the move, but it was Mike Stankovic breaking the length of the field and then crossing, hitting Ercole on the numbers. Pat cuts to the middle and then uses the left foot for a perfect shot under. And look at Slobo grab his face. He knows immediately that it's by him and in the nets. But what set it up was the great run down the left side. We were just talking about Stankovic and his combination of speed, size, and aggressive moves forward that made it all happen.
The leading goal scorer in the playoffs so far, Pat Ercole. Blast lead at 3-0. You really could see on our coverage that time Mike Stankovic's speed and generating the counterattack single-handedly from the back. And that is the play that the Steamers have been unable to stop.
Normally, a 3-0 lead in the MISL, a 3-goal lead in the MISL means very little at this early stage, but tonight I think it is huge and maybe insurmountable.
Sam Bick gives it away. McWilliams on the run. Dave coming in. A little credit to Sam Bick for staying with Dave McWilliams stride for stride, and Ilievsky for making the save.
As Dave McWilliams' style by contrast, sort of like a fullback from the coal mining country, just straight ahead.
Now Timmy Whitman. He's got McWilliams on the right-hand side. Across, Joey Fink. He has some space. Kept alive by Fink. Joey Fink, Mr. Opportunistic tonight.
And he's on target.
Steamers come out. Their confidence must be shattered. We will see just how large the heart of the St. Louis Steamers is in the next few minutes or so. Cacciatore loose in front. And a handball is called against St. Louis.
And listen to the crowd here. This is terrific. 12,000 on hand. Not a sellout during the whole playoffs, and to see this, and they're literally hanging from the rafters here, the top level where the press is. And the Blast hasn't let down at all, Al. Probably playing their best offensive game of the series.
Keith Van Aaron took a shot to the face just a few minutes ago. He is up and still looks as crisp as ever. Foul against Diego Pesa of St. Louis.
As often as the press and their opponents have second-guessed them, especially towards the midpoint of the season when the Blast was just 13-11 before exploding to go 21-3 in the second half, and now storm to a playoff win, winning 9 of 11 possibly. Great credit to the coach.
Ilievsky, the slow roller. 2 minutes, 14 seconds to go in the half. McWilliams pressuring the St. Louis goalkeeper.
Incidentally, I'll be the subject of my halftime feature. We'll take a look back at the entire season gone by, and the lows, and there were plenty of them, and then the great highs in the second half. A season of turmoil perhaps turned into a season of championship for Ken Cooper.
Joey Fink in control, and now losing it. Don Draghi brings the Steamers out. A long pass going nowhere. Ercole, the MISL's offensive star. But he has been fed with some of the league's best assists. That time doing it on his own. Only a good kick save from Ilievsky stopped him. Pat is playing charged up soccer.
I know it's early. There's been a lot of speculation in the press today as to who would be the playoff MVP for the championship series if the Blast does win tonight. Scott Manning was the odds-on favorite. Will not be in goal tonight. Watching Pat Ercole and Mike Stankovic play tonight, I think we're going to see it between those two.
Machia, dynamite save in traffic by Slobo Ilievsky. Slobo still his head in the game. The outlet pass for Larry Hulser. Hulser working on Machia. Cuts and fires. Machia got a foot on it. The rebound is blocked by Thompson. The Blast are covering up all over the field. Draghi. Redmond Lane. Great save by Van Aaron. Outlet pass for Ercole. Couldn't get a pass ahead to Stan Stamenkovic, who was all alone. Back comes Larry Hulser. Hulser feeding Draghi. Loose in front for Pesa. Blocked by Machia. A scrambling Blast defense. But now they'll have to face a free kick. Foul on Baltimore.
Well, you don't want to give up now, or let up now. 40 seconds left in the half. It's 3-0 Blast. It's been all Blast. You don't want to give St. Louis any sign of life at all going into the locker.
Bellinger to take it. Stamenkovic fronting him.
Well, they give him the shot there.
Out to Draghi. Blocked by Ercole. And that one hurt. Now that ball weighs a pound.
What is this man doing?
Finally, Neil Cohen. Van Aaron stopped that one. I was just about to say that ball weighs a pound, and when a player unloads one at about 75 miles an hour,
he wishes.
I get out of the way. I don't try to get in front of it. 10 seconds to go. Another save by Pete on the goal line.
Boy.
And
Big
Diego
save.
Pesa getting a little too feisty for the Baltimore Blast.
Big save, though, with 7 seconds left in the half. And they're calling out the trainer is Bobby Baldwin. I think Keith may have caught that one. Hope not in the face, but in the upper body. But you know, that ball, he almost carried that ball across the line with him. Let's take a look, Al. Nice feed inside. Keith loses control, and there's Pesa, who catches him in the face. Catches him in the face, but Van Aaron still kept his poise and didn't take that ball over the goal line. Maybe a better look here.
How difficult to keep your concentration when you've got an opponent coming at you and you know he's going to be kicking at your head.
You know, Keith, of course, dropped that protective helmet earlier in the year. Has been a better player since then. And that's the sacrifice you make right there. Kenny Cooper, of course, a former goalkeeper, out to make sure that his man in goal is okay.
I think Keith is saying, I took a shot right in the nose. And Kenny's saying, it's not broken. You'll still be as good looking tomorrow as you are today. I'll say one thing, though. If I was Diego Pesa, I'm going for that loose ball, too.
Oh, so am I. Just missed.
7:06 of the clock to go, and it'll be halftime at the Civic Center. Blast leading at 3-0. This should just about bring an end to the first half of play. It does. Kenny Cooper said to the players before the game, it should be, let it be. Dare to be great. Well, the Baltimore Blast will now, in the form of a 3-0 lead, dare the St. Louis Steamers to come back in the second half. The dream is alive at the Civic Center. At the end of the first half, the score, the Steamers 0 and the Baltimore Blast 3. We'll be back live from the Civic Center with our halftime show, featuring a look at the Baltimore Blast's pursuit of the trophy in Tilly's Tidbits, a follow-up interview with Chris O'Donoghue, and first half highlights, right after this message from our sponsors. Back live at the Civic Center. Al Trautwig along with Lou Tilley and Chris O'Donoghue will be along with us in just a moment. Blast halfway there. 3-0 they lead. Goals by Pat Ercole, Dave McWilliams, and Joe Fink. The game, Lou Tilley, really got off to a strange start.
Yeah, it did. We speculated that after the way St. Louis lost in overtime in Game 4, that they would come in here and maybe have a hard time shaking off that discouraging defeat, and it's certainly true. Slobo made a couple of really sloppy plays, and his defense completely stopped a couple of times, and they got behind 2-0, and then Ercole with a great feed from Stankovic, and sitting in there right now, 3-0, and you know how Kenny Cooper wants this one tonight. You know how emotional he is. I find it very difficult to believe that the Blast will be anywhere but in the championship seat when it's over tonight.
All right, so far at halftime, it's 3-0 for the Baltimore Blast. A recap of what has been a very strange season for Baltimore in Tilly's Tidbits.
The home opener way back in November. And the most visible difference in a new-look team, Stan Stamankovic, the magician, scores the first goal of the new season. But life with Stan and the new-look Blast would not be easy in the beginning.
These players are the most intelligent players I've ever been around, and they've got the biggest egos that I've ever seen, but we all have egos, and it's been great for me just working around them. A coach is only as good as the players he surrounds himself with. The new players that come in, Stamankovic, Kitson, Konovacs, Mishier, have been the difference.
But the most talented team in the MISL was just 13-11 at the season's midpoint. And as if that wasn't bad enough, in January, Friday the 13th at St. Louis, their two most effective players to that point, Mike Stankovic and goalie Scott Manning, go down with injured knees. Things look bleak indeed, with 3 straight losses and just 60 seconds away from a 4th at Pittsburgh. Heinz Wirtz, with a remarkable save in the empty net, turned the game and the entire season around with this great individual play. The Blast would tie the game and win it in overtime. They would steamroll from there. A 14-6 win at the New York Arrows highlighted a club record 9-game winning streak. There was another 8-game win streak, and the Blast powered their way to the regular season championship with a glittery 21-3 second half mark. And yet for Ken Cooper, obstacles of a different kind.
The last thing that I think about is my 4 or 5 years with Bernie Roden. It's been an incredible experience. I mean, just we are like father and son. We have our ups and our downs, and he's an intense competitor, and so am I. And I promised him at the start of the season that Bernie, you know, we'll send you out a winner. So
That behind them, the Blast rolled through their opening rounds of playoff action. A vicious brawl in New York, the only smudge on an otherwise impeccable postseason. That now, after Wednesday night's win in St. Louis, finds them on the brink of their first championship.
We're 60 minutes away from our first ever championship, and they tell me that you don't get the feeling until that final whistle blows, and then I guess all hell will break loose. And I'm somewhat of a disciplinarian, and I don't spend a lot of time around the players, but I did promise the players that if we do win the championship, I would have a few drinks with them.
Lou Tilly, in recapping the season, you used the word tumultuous, but I had a chance to speak with Wayne Gretzky about 30 seconds after he won the Stanley Cup just a couple of weeks ago. Wayne Gretzky said to me, Al, it makes it feel so much better when you've been in the dumps and then you win. You know, last year Edmonton was swept by the Islanders in 4 straight, and now they had a chance to return the favor. The feeling there being, well, if we didn't go up against it at some time, it wouldn't be worth it.
Adversity, you mean?
Yeah.
I think that's true for any of us, and Kenny Cooper certainly went through that. And, you know, he put his own neck on the line, Al, when he changed the look of this club in the offseason. After all, he had gone to the finals with a fine club, but decided that he needed to make some changes in order to win it all, to be one game better. And he paid the price for that in the early part of the season when they struggled along at 13-11. But in the end, he was right.
We continue now at halftime with the Blast leading in what could be the deciding game of the MISL Championship by turning it over to our man on the field, Chris O'Donoghue, for this report. Chris?
With me here at midfield is Kenny Cooper. Kenny, an emotional night for you. You've waited 5 years for this opportunity. Can you retrace a few of those steps, the ups and downs?
Well, it is an emotional night for many reasons. You know, we came to Baltimore 4 years ago, and Bernie Roden brought the team here, and he goes out tonight. And one thing I promised him, that it would take us 4 years to win a championship, and we're right on track. And you think about the ups and downs that we've gone through. We came into the city, and the demand really was that we were successful from day one. And as a first-year franchise, we had a 21-19 record. We made some improvements. Then we finished 27-17. The third year, 30-18. This year, 34-14. And we've won 2 Eastern Division championships. And we've never won nothing here in the Civic Center. Both divisions have been on, Eastern Division titles have been won on the road. So yeah, it's an emotional night, but we have 60 minutes to go out and concentrate, and St. Louis is going to make it difficult for us. We're in the driver's seat. But one thing I want more than anything is to win this championship for Bernie Roden, for the new owner that's coming in, Nathan Scher, that bought the team, a local Baltimorean, and for these great fans in the city of Baltimore. The emotion has got to be on the field. I told the players, don't get lost in the emotion of the game. We've got 60 minutes, and then I guess we'll see what it feels like.
Well, Kenny, the whole city is behind you tonight. Do you think you're going to do it here tonight? I'm sure it's your hope.
Well, I believe if we can't win here tonight, then we don't deserve to win a championship. We lost the first game. We won the second game here thanks to great goalkeeper Van Eren. 2 tremendous goalkeeping performances by Scott Manning, and some great goal scoring by Stankovic and Pat Urkel, Stamankovic in games 3 and 4. So if we don't win it here, we don't deserve to be a champion. So I said, let's go for it. We've got to dare to be great tonight. I said, tonight's a good night to die. Kill yourself and win the game.
Well, Kenny, let's hope you don't have to go that far. Long life to you, and the very best of luck tonight. Do you think St. Louis are ready to lie down at this point?
Not at all. No, I think the spirit's a little bit down, but the ball is round. Anything can happen. If they get a couple of early goals, you know, it could be a long night for us, but I feel we're ready to play, and I think we're going to explode.
Well, Kenny, best of luck. We hope you take it tonight.
It's going to be a great night.
Yes, it is. Thank you. And back to you, Al.
All right, Chris, you could certainly hear that emotional sound in Kenny Cooper's voice. A quick update from the stadium.
Hey, at Memorial Stadium, the Tigers lead the Orioles in front of 50,000, 1-0. Second inning play, Parrish with a single against Storm Davis to score Gibson in the first inning. Early action, second inning.
On a night when only about 65,000 people are watching sports in Baltimore, we'll bring you back. You're at home, but you're watching sports too on 13. We'll be back for more halftime in just a moment.
With little or no doubt.
There have been some dramatic.
back live at the Civic Center downtown. I'm Al Troutwig along with Lou Tilley and Chris O'Donoghue. There is the midway point score. The Blast leading the St. Louis Steamers 3-0. It began with a very strange play.
Well, here again we say Slobo Ilevsky immediately makes the call, but unfortunately the officials did not agree. It will drop the ground.
You know, one of the best things... Join the... Now playing separately at a theater near you.
The crowd has returned to their seats at the Civic Center downtown. The Baltimore Blast, maybe 30 minutes away from the MISL championship. They lead the St. Louis Steamers by a score of 3-0. Keith Van Aaron has taken his knocks in the first half, but he has been brilliant in shutting out the Steamers. There's the story. Yeah, you know, in the second period, the Steamers came back strong with 14 shots on the Blast goal, and Van Aaron came up very big in that second period, particularly towards the end, where they really wanted to keep St. Louis off the board. Van Aaron now with 9 saves in the game. Ilevsky with 15 already, Al, although he's allowed 3. You're watching live on WJZ Channel 13 from downtown. I'm Al Troutwig along with Lou Tilley. Chris O'Donoghue is down at fieldside. Nice halftime show, by the way, by a trio of singers, Debbie Bell, Kathy Wilhelm, and Gary Wall, who sung the national anthem as well. Keith, Chris O'Donoghue standing by live now in the Blast bench, and we're going on down to Chris O'Donoghue, who's standing by now live as the Blast returns in the field. Chris?
Kenny, do you think that the Blast can keep this overdrive soccer going in the second half with the heat down here?
Yeah, I think so. We've got fresh legs. Unfortunately, Heinz Wirtz is through. We've got Paul Kitson ready to come in. Danny Counts, Bobby McAvan. Van Aaron's playing fantastic. We're blocking a lot of shots, and we're getting a good performance from everybody. The thing that we have to watch is the rebound. They've caught us a little bit off the boards, but we're playing good, solid defense. And I think the third period is going to be the key. We've got to keep them scoreless. We're going to the fourth period. I'll bring some fresh legs in.
Great first half.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny.
Chris?
Back to you, Al. Yes?
Chris, this is Lou. What's wrong with Heinz? Did Kenny say?
Say that, Lou?
What is wrong with Heinz Wirtz?
I can't see. All I know is that they are lifting him. He cannot put his weight on his right leg. I don't know. I'm going to try and get Bobby Baldwin over here. So next time you come back to me, I'll have more on it.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh. All right, well, the bottom line is Heinz Wirtz is out. We know which play he was injured in. It was that two-man collision earlier in the game in the second quarter. I like the way Chris termed it, overdrive soccer. It has been that. 3-0. Adrienne Brooks fouling Rick Davis. Davis, a former member of the Cosmos. Larry Hulser, a former member of the Cosmos. Joey Fink, Dave Clements, the Steamer coach. Steamers desperately trying to come up with it, but the Blast are pressuring everywhere.
Well, they'll play high-pressure soccer now. St. Louis will send 4 or 5 men into the attacking zone. They won't play their counter-punching defense. They'll have to gamble.
and gamble often and early. And the Blast has taken full advantage of it in the last 3 games whenever St. Louis has gone into this mode.
Adrienne Brooks pushing Larry Hulser all the way back almost to his own line. Here's Neil Cohen. Stopped brilliantly on the near side by Dave McWilliams. Brooks comes out, but so does Ilievsky to shut down that Blast attack. Intercepted by McWilliams. Off the boards for Brooks. Ilievsky out of the box. But a whistle. I didn't see the foul. I only heard the sound of the whistle.
Pater Coley, who scored the 3rd goal, is the leading career playoff scorer for the Blast now with 49 points in 33 MISL playoff games.
I didn't check. Did Stamenkovic have a point yet?
Mike Stankovic or Stan?
Stan Stamenkovic.
No, he did not.
One more point, and he sets an MISL record for the most points scored in a playoff season. He is tied right now with Steve Zungel at 32. And there goes Stamenkovic in on Ilievsky. Mechia. Stamenkovic. Even an assist will break the record. He was 1 on 4. That only means the 3 Blast players were open.
You know, even an assist, I can remember a couple of times in St. Louis, once in Game 3 and once in 4, Al. Unfortunately, they only award 1 assist on a goal in the MISL, where Stan probably deserved an assist, but wasn't granted one. He's had strong games in St. Louis.
Mike Stankovic. It's my firm belief that if 2 assists are warranted, you give 2.
Yeah,
if only
sure.
1, you give 1.
Exactly. And I agree.
In any sport. This will be a free kick. Stamenkovic was knocked down by Timmy Walters. And you can see the officials paying strict attention tonight to that 10-foot rule on free kicks. Ercole leaves it for Stankovic. Diego Pesa brings it out for the Steamers. 12.5 to go, 3rd chapter of the game. Game 5 of the MISL Championship Series.
Look at Ray Klimanovac. Nice play. Ray has learned so much about playing position defense.
Slobo knocks it ahead to Daryl Duran. What a career this player has ahead of him. Number 7 for St. Louis. Here he is again, getting that rebound and firing up onto the stage.
Boy, Al, Chris is not even a good point. The Heat. I look in the stands now, especially the first row next to the Blast bench, folded up popcorn boxes and snack trays everywhere being used as fans. Got to be 90 degrees or 85 degrees down on the playing field now.
Of course, Lou Tilley doesn't need any of those things. He has all the fans anyone could ever want. Keith Van Aaron will restart on a goal kick with 12:07 to go in the 3rd quarter. Van Aaron knocked up pretty good twice in the first half and was able to return both times. Scott Manning stepping aside to give KVE a chance here at the Civic Center and at home to win it all.
Well, we don't want to make it sound like a great charitable gesture either. I think I like Manning's honesty, Al, in the fact that he thought, hey, I'm a little burned out, and in that small arena where St. Louis has been so effective, I don't want to go out there and play the hero and try and hog the MVP, that sort of thing. I'm not sure that I'm going to be sharp, so let's go with KVE tonight.
McWilliams and Adrienne Brooks got a foot in the face as he attempted to put a head on that ball. Adrienne Brooks in a lot of pain inside the St. Louis penalty area. And now, in effect, for a moment at least, it is a St. Louis Steamer power play. Saved by Van Aaron and headed into the corner by
look at this.
Joey Fink.
We get a close-up look at Brooks down there. There he is. Oh, and he has blood out of his nose. Yeah, he was belted a good one out. I've heard a lot of the fans saying that these guys take dives if they're breathed on, but Brooks really caught one now. I think we have it right here on the reverse angle. Ah! Geez, just to the right of the screen. You might see it better from the high angle.
I thought we had it pretty good right there.
Oof. There's the result.
Adrienne Brooks in a lot of pain. 11:35 to go in the 3rd quarter.
It's like Boom Boom Mancini last weekend.
The chase for the championship will continue in a moment.
With little or no down payment at Legum. That's right. If Legum says it, you can believe it. Drive away in a fully equipped Chevy Chevette with factory air conditioning for only $39.84 at Legum Direct Outlet, 7900 Eastern Avenue.
Having already lost Heinz Wirtz to injury in this game, the Baltimore Blast are now faced with the prospect of losing Adrienne Brooks because of this.
Just to the middle, he'll get the ball right here. The blonde-haired big guy who really does a remarkable job of getting that shot away and paid for it because he caught the right foot of Pesa under the nose and was bleeding pretty heavily.
Now, in every soccer rule book I've ever seen, that is dangerous play.
And Coop's letting them have it, and somebody from St. Louis is letting Coop have it, and that's Pesa.
No, that's Don Ebert. Whose voice,
Ebert, yeah.
Ebert is the acting captain here tonight.
Well, you know, the St. Louis would do well to take out their frustrations in there. Look at Kenny. I think he knows he goaded him a little bit.
He said, well, I thought I'd go for it.
I'll call a rise out of him, I did.
All right, well, Chris O'Donoghue's down on the bench. Perhaps we can find out what the exact story with Heinz Wirtz and with Adrienne Brooks is. The officials not handing out a penalty on the play, and we will restart with a drop ball at the last point where active play was stopped. And on we go. Dave McWilliams. Danny Counts is out there now, making his first appearance for the Baltimore Blast.
I'm really happy to see that. I really am. Danny Counts has meant a lot to this club, and he has really impressed me with his character.
He has waited by patiently for his opportunity, and the time is now.
I think you're going to see a great coach in the MISL, if not in a year, in a couple of years, in Dan Counts.
Tim Whitman gets it ahead to Danny Counts. Dave McWilliams feeding Joey Fink. Fink on the run, running with McWilliams. Inside for Fink. It does not count.
Unbelievable.
It hit the crossbar and came straight down. Joey Fink directing that shot with his head and almost getting it by Slobo Ilievsky. Daryl Duran forgot something.
Well, have the Blast utilized that header well in this series or what, Al? It has been a critical difference in the two teams. They've just shown their great versatility right there.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was his head.
He catched the outside of his foot, the outside of the right foot, redirected it up and under the crossbar.
Quite a bit of skill by Joe Fink.
Breakout.
Timmy Whitman has Paul Kitson in front. Now Kitson races with Ilievsky. They call a foul against Paul Kitson.
Really pushing. Protect the keeper anytime he strolls out of there. Technically, he's fair game like any other forward.
Three-line violation, or no, it's a kick-in for the Baltimore Blast with 10 minutes to go now in the third quarter. Baltimore leading 3-0. They win tonight. They are the MISL champions. Juan Carlos Machia to Keith Van Aaron.
Keith Van Aaron with the ball there. Al actually has the most career minutes of any goalkeeper in the MISL in history. Cincinnati, Wichita, and the Blast now over 1,094 minutes now of play.
Kitson has his shot blocked by Bellinger. The restart by Kunevats just off the corner of the net. Stamenkovic. Tackled from behind by Tony Bellinger. .10 to go. Don Draghi brings it in. Mike Stankovic is there to meet him. A fine time tackle by Juan Carlos Machia. Ilievsky out of the net again. Slobo dumps it in for Daryl Duran. Duran out for Draghi. It's loose, and Van Aaron may have used his face to make that save.
Keith has been a tiger in the nets tonight.
And it will be a corner kick now for the St. Louis Steamers. Ball being last touched by a member of the Blast, and Keith Van Aaron.
How does he manage to keep his hair looking so good in the middle of all that? He ought to do an ad for hairspray.
Keith has been brilliant, as good as I've ever seen him.
Yeah.
Close in the slot. Oh. Another save by Van Aaron on a point-blank ricochet.
Save of the night right there.
The Steamers come away shaking their heads at a foul against the Blast.
And that came off the foot of Pesa, Al, and you know what it's like when he hits him. He has been robbed a couple of times now. You think back to Manning's save in the late stages of the fourth quarter at St. Louis. Watch it. Coming up right here. Wham!
Keith got a piece of it. It bounced off the boards. Back to the action we go. Diego Pesa. Can't get around Stamenkovic. They'll call the foul on Stan.
Stan with a pretty good drive block there. Got the legs planted underneath him. Kept them pumping. Drove right through him.
And Stamenkovic is down and out.
I don't see how he got hurt.
I don't either. He's holding his head. We'll get another look at it here.
Yeah, you see he drives through Pesa. He caught one across the right ankle as Pesa came back to the ball.
The foul, remember, was on Stan Stamenkovic. It was before Stan had been tripped that the foul was called by Gino DiPolito, the referee there, who stopped play. Bobby Baldwin rubbing ice all over Stan Stamenkovic in an effort to get the league's top scorer back on his feet. Diego Pesa offering an apology to Stan Stamenkovic. Stan looks like he's been through the ringer.
Well, it was an oppressively hot night right now.
A lot of down to Chris O'Donoghue and get an injury update. Chris?
Yes. Yes.
What has happened to Adrienne Brooks?
Adrienne got a kick on the bridge of the nose, but it's worse. It looks worse than it really is. I can get Bobby Baldwin to explain all of this to you if you want right now.
How about Heinz Wirtz, Chris? Have you found out about
what?
him? How about Heinz Wirtz?
Heinz got an elbow in the hip.
And in the meantime, the St. Louis Steamers have scored. The Steamers score on the restart, and for the first time, this team can smile. With 8:26 to go, Diego Pesa, we were just talking about how he's been stymied, and now the crowd rises on its feet to give Keith Van Aaron a cheer of support.
The ball is deflected about halfway through by, I think, Mike. No, it may have been Pater Coley right here at the top of the box. Or Ray Kunovac. Redirects the ball. Van Aaron is moving to his right, and the ball came back to his left. Couldn't react.
Important moments now for the Baltimore Blast. 3-1, they've got a 2-goal cushion. But I don't have to tell you that if they give up another, it's only a 1-goal lead, and that is a different ball game. The Steamers didn't get here by lying down.
Orioles have come back, Alan, to tie up the Tigers. Top of the fourth, O scored in the bottom of the third. They are tied at 1 at Memorial Stadium.
Larry Hulser coming in and scoring. Larry Hulser coming in unmolested. And the Blast now must take a deep breath and tighten the old belt. It is a 1-goal game.
Well, not much to tell from there. Hulser with the length of the field run. And Alan, we talked about Hulser in the lineup in place of Steve Petra. You don't expect this from Larry Hulser.
Plenty of defenders surrounding Larry Hulser. As we watch the reverse angle, no one picked him up.
He beats Keith down low and to the left, where Keith is usually his strongest.
Oh, the plot thickens at the Civic Center. 3-2.
As a relief pitcher, everybody...
...and a beer and less.
Let me finish that for you, Sparky.
Diego Pesa and Larry Hulser scoring 28 seconds apart and erasing Keith Van Aren's shutout. The Blast still lead at 3-2. The crowd on its feet, exhorting the Blast to hang on.
Now time to get back to work now. You know, let's get our heads back in the game. It's 3-2, and as you said, now it's anybody's game.
Another chance for Ricky Davis, who had an opportunity and missed it wide.
Missed a wide open net.
Things are looking very ominous for the Baltimore Blast right now.
Shaky. Real shaky. Watch Davis wheel on this ball after an errant pass and a giveaway in their own zone. Davis with a bouncer went underneath Van Aren and had him beat, but shot it wide.
On we go. Dave McWilliams sending it in for Tim Whitman, who bounces one forward, but it's grabbed by Slobo Ilievsky. An eternity to go in this game. 7:32 in the third, and then, of course, a full 15-minute fourth quarter to play. Don Ebert battling with Max Thompson. They've had their run-ins in the series. And Adrienne Brooks returns to the field of play and makes his presence felt to Don Ebert. Brooks took a kick in the nose. There was blood all over his face. But as Chris O'Donoghue said to us, it was worse than it looked. A mad scramble in front, and Van Aren comes up with it. The outlet pass.
Blast has really done nothing in the offensive zone of St. Louis in period 3. If you're St. Louis and you were thinking, okay, we're down 3-0 in Baltimore, I'm going to join Steve Petcher for a few rounds of golf in Florida tomorrow. Now all of a sudden you think, well, why not? Why not dig down and deep and see if we can't steal one and bring it back to St. Louis, get in front of 17,000 fans, and maybe pull it off.
Dave McWilliams battling with Adrienne Brooks, but it's 2-on-4. Ricky Davis gives it up, but recovers nicely. Oh. Davis is a fighter, no question about it. He has battled with some of the world's best and the world's most physical. Steamers ball, Neil Cohen to Slobo. I'm Al Troutwig along with Lou Tilley, Chris O'Donoghue field side as our coverage live from downtown continues on 13. The Blast now leading 3-2. Max Thompson sends it away.
The Steamers have been gambling now, as we said, in the third quarter. They come out and played high pressure, sending 4 or 5 guys across the red line into the Blast offensive zone, gambling on their marking in the front court to create some opportunities, and they have.
Slobo dumps it in for erasing Don Ebert. The officials say it was deflected by Max Thompson, and it will be a kick in. This is MISL Championship game number 5, with the Blast leading in the series 3-1. A victory here tonight means champagne for them. Daryl Duran will restart for the blue-clad St. Louis Steamers. Duran in front. It is loose.
Oh, Mike Stankovic just elbowed a St. Louis player away. They've been so tough on the restarts inside.
Pesa gives it away. Ray Kunevats is there. Stan Stamenkovic back on the field. That's good news for Baltimore. Stamenkovic still with it, coming in, feeding Stankovic. It's in!
Have been so very, very special in the past 2 games. Stamenkovic with maybe his best floor-length run of the year out. He normally does it just in the front court, in the front field, all the way across the red line. Now, I'm thinking Stan's going to shoot here, but that's just when he beats you. He finds Stankovic wide open behind Ilievsky, and Mike does a nice job of redirecting this ball in a hurry.
An MISL record has been set by Stan Stamenkovic. This is his 33rd point of the playoffs. No one has ever done better.
From Stan's view, you see how he had sucked Ilievsky out to play him alone and left the backside wide open for Stankovic. And that's the kind of peripheral vision that Stan has with him whenever he moves towards the net, and what makes him such a great offensive star.
And the Blast again have some room to breathe. 4-2, they lead. What had happened, I think, was that the Steamers were so intent on pressing offensively, they got caught deep in the zone of Baltimore.
Well, of course, that's the gamble you play.
Jeff Cacciatore stopped by Van Aaron. Keith with a well-timed slap save on Cacciatore. In comes Bellinger. He fires. Cleared away by Kunevats.
You see St. Louis now, again, on the high pressure. 4 men up, down darn near inside the area. Duran, the only man hanging back, or rather Draghi hanging back as the last line of defense.
Now Mike Stankovic celebrating perhaps a little too strongly.
This is from a guy who just had his knee operated.
And on we go. The record by Stankovic eclipsing the mark of 32 points in the playoffs, held by Steve Shungle. Joey Fink beating Pat Ercole. Ercole's shot is blocked. Check it, that was not Fink, it was Ray Kunevats. Stan doing it again. Stankovic the shot. Pressure by Baltimore. Whoa! Duran and Stankovic go at it in the corner. And quick apologies for those two.
Sorry I tried to kick you in the face there, Daryl. Nothing personal.
5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Last lead it by 2, but they face the same prospect that they did when they led 3-1. Another goal, and it's a 1-goal game again.
Here we go.
They must stay tight.
Right side.
Carefully. Running with Stankovic. The rebound just agonizingly out of his reach.
Oh, my.
And a 2-minute penalty will be called against Mike Stankovic. Holding is the call. That brings Kenny Cooper to the doorstep.
Cooper has his tie loose now, Al. You can ease up. Ercole cuts to the left and waits a hair too long to try and get it over to Stankovic, who again has snuck in behind Ilevsky in a steamer defense. And as it comes off the board, has overrun the ball a hair. Now as they come back, maybe a touch frustrated. Gee whiz, Al.
It was close.
I don't know, buddy. But again, the opportunity for St. Louis.
Either way, it is a power play for the St. Louis Steamers. The no-goal patrol is out there without Heinz Wirtz, who was out with an injury that he received earlier in the game. The blast go with Kitson, who pokes it away. Paul Kitson leads the attack. But he's in too deep. He had Whitman alone. And now the blast will get a free kick.
Now, Kitson's legs are fresh, and that's a real advantage to be able to pull Paul Kitson off the bench now when you're missing your most consistent defender, Heinz Wirtz.
Kitson in front for Whitman, just off target.
Acrobatic play that almost worked.
And up into the crowd. Paul Kitson once led this league in shorthanded goals, and he showed us why.
Kitson has been something of a forgotten star in this series, Al, but he's coming back from a painful hamstring injury, and he has made some great plays, led the league in game-winning goals this year for the Blast.
The Blast are shorthanded, but pressuring here. Bob McAvan. The Steamers.
Well, you've got 4 Tigers out there right now who are just kind of being uncaged for the first time in the third period. We haven't seen a lot of Tim Whitman, Machia, Bob McAvan.
4 here and 25 at Memorial Stadium. That makes 29 Tigers in Baltimore alone. Duncan McEwen in the slot, swept away by McAvan. And out come the Blast again. A soft bounce pass off the boards for Kitson.
Look at this. Look at this.
Oh!
Paul Kitson. Way to go, Paul. This guy wanted this one, Al.
I thought he misplayed this completely.
He wanted this ball. That is as great a play as you'll ever see. And we still don't appreciate it from that angle. You got to take it back even further. The fight that Paul Kitson put up to make this play happen. And that's what it takes. What depth to be able to bring a guy like that up off the bench and to get that kind of play when St. Louis is carrying the play to you. And here comes the best move of the night. There it goes.
5-2. The Blast again have a 3-goal lead. They have answered the challenge of the Steamers. The Steamers scoring twice inside of 28 seconds to make it a 3-2 ball game. And the Blast have now gotten 2 back. One of them, the shorthanded goal you just saw. Quite the effort from Paul Kitson. Just missing, and Van Aaron, by the seat of his pants, recovers to stop that ball from bouncing in on the strange carom. Remember, the Steamers still on the power play here. Duncan McEwen fires, but it's blocked. Van Aaron. A frustrating goal to let in. The Steamers now make it 5-3.
Listen to the crowd, though. I mean, what great action here in the MISL Championship. Get a shot. Look at the people on their feet right now, applauding that power play. Off the boards. Van Aaron can't handle the bouncy ball inside. Wide open net.
Now keep one thing in mind here. Keith is one of the few goaltenders in this league who plays without gloves. And he does usually such a super job, but that one slipped off his fingertips. The Steamers get one back. The goal for Timmy Walters from Don Ebert. 2:47 to go in the third quarter.
5 goals now in the third quarter.
It is a power play goal for the Steamers. McWilliams running with Ilievsky in the corner. Dave sends it out for Joey Fink. Cacciatore feeding Sam Bick. The second half has been quite a battle. The Steamers actually outscoring Baltimore in the second chapter of the game, 3-2. It was a 3-0 halftime Baltimore lead. Jeff Cacciatore for Don Ebert, and now to Larry Hulser, who scored the Steamers' second goal of the game. Neil Cohen, intercepted by McWilliams.
I have to think that the loss of Heinz Wirtz, which may have seemed incidental when the Blast was ahead 3-0 coming out of the half, has made a big difference. Such an important player, kind of the enforcer, the policeman, especially on that defensive side of the field.
Juan Carlos Machia, Blast leading 5-3. They're playing for the trophy here tonight. Ilievsky in trouble. Stamenkovic there to collect the rebound. Stan still with the ball, but a foul. He was pushed. Free kick Blast. 12,007. Very much involved in this game.
4 goals scored in a 5-minute span. 5 goals, Al, scored in the span of 5 minutes and 30 seconds here in the third quarter.
Pat Ercoli just gives it away. Mike O'Mara, the kamikaze of the Steamer roster, sends it ahead for Pesa. Nice tackle by Machia.
Boy, he never plays it safe.
Sam Bick left side has room. Just wide. Mike Stankovic speeds it the other way. Don Draghi is there for the Steamers. Very high pace to this game.
Guys have to be sucking air.
Less than a minute to go in the third quarter. The fourth quarter should be something special.
It'll break out.
Blast in control. Mike Stankovic leading the charge. And he'll bring it back out. Mike playing it to Machia. Nice play by Juan Carlos to get the ball back the other way. Now Stamenkovic. Double team. Stan. You always expect them to break through somehow. Two-minute penalty is coming up against Stan Stamenkovic right here. for taking down Mike O'Mara. Tripping is the call. Stan a little over-aggressive on the tackle.
Here's a replay of the penalty, and this could be a crucial one. But if we can get a shot now of Keith Van Aaron as he walks back into goal, Al, you had just pointed out that he was playing without gloves and had let a couple of them out on his grasp that led to goals. And indeed, during this pause in play, he went over and picked up a pair of gloves from Scott Madden.
Now, we mentioned earlier that Stan Stomenkovic, with the assist to Mike Stankovic's goal, has set a new MISL playoff scoring record. That's in one playoff season, 33 points, eclipsing the mark of 32 held by former New York Arrow Steve Jungle.
Follow up on the point now, Van Aaron just now pulling on the gloves. Sure, you can probably get away with playing without the, there they are, playing without the gloves, but in this kind of heat tonight, Al, the sweat on top of everything else, your hands have to be just slick as oil, and indeed Keith has let up a couple that have spun right out of his hands.
It is a power play again for the St. Louis Steamers. On the last power play attempt by them, the Blast scored a shorthanded goal, and the Steamers also scored a power play goal. 10 seconds gone by in the power play. The no-goal patrol consisting of Bob McAvan. You can see the Blast penalty killing in the playoffs has been superb at 88% as the buzzer sounds to end the third quarter of play. Stand by. The next 15 minutes of indoor soccer may be the last for the Blast this season, and it should be equally as exciting. 5-3, Baltimore leads it. We'll return you live to the Civic Center in a moment.
So this is the new log cabin.
Thanks for giving me a hand.
Hey, what are friends for?
Here's to good friends. Tonight's kind of special.
Try it this way.
The beer we'll pour says something more somehow.
Looks like we're about done, huh? Not yet, you're not.
Tonight.
Not a bad day's work. Next weekend, we put in the pool.
Let it be low and brown.
The Blast tradition of the salute to the fans after the third quarter continues here, but in the meantime, let's go down to Chris O'Donoghue.
With me is Mike Stankovic. Mike, you're playing like a man possessed tonight. In fact, the whole team is. How are you doing it out there? How are you keeping going?
I mean, it's the last game. It's our championship right now, and you have to give 100% how much you can. I think it's the last game we want to play. We don't want to keep going and go back to St. Louis. I think we have to wrap it up tonight.
Well, Mike, it looks like you're a Trojan for trying to talk to us. I know you're working hard. Go back out there and do it, man.
I have to go.
Chris,
go, man.
Chris.
Okay, yes.
Now, Lou Tilly here, Chris.
Yes, Lou.
Is the club fatigued at this point? That was a high-pressure third quarter. 5 goals scored in the span of 6 minutes.
Yes, it was.
Are they run down a bit?
No, in fact, I would say that if anybody is about to give it, it's got to be St. Louis. I'm right between both benches here, and I would see that St. Louis are really flagging. Their heads are down, and only this power play is the only thing that can give them the kind of adrenaline they need to stay in this game. But the Blast truly are like a team possessed. If they could package what they're running on tonight, they would be millionaires.
Could use a little bit of that myself. Thanks,
yes,
Chris.
Yes, indeed. Back to you.
The Kenny Cooper just brought the troops out in the traditional end of the third period salute. Al Trautwig. The largest crowd ever in the history of the Baltimore Blast and the Civic Center here tonight. Over 12,000 in a building that was probably designed to seat 10 comfortably. 12,007 here tonight. A new record and a great night.
We just watched one old veteran netminder, Ken Cooper, chat with the current holder of the crown, Keith Van Aaron. He will be in goal for the Blast as we begin the fourth quarter. He has been brilliant tonight.
He has been spectacular. In that third quarter, the Steamers and the Blast about even in shots on goal. The Blast with 6 more, the Steamers with 5. Van Aaron was forced to make 3 saves, and Ilievsky not a 1. Of course, 2 got by him. 3 scores for the Steamers. We saw 5 goals in a span of 6 minutes in the middle section of period 3.
Dave Clements and Ken Cooper, the respective mentors of these two teams who have survived from the 12 that began the season. The Steamers won the West, the Blast won the East. Fasten your seatbelts. Here we go.
A strange contrast. Clemens from Northern Ireland and Ken Cooper from Blackpool, England, involved in this craziness that we call indoor soccer tonight. And a great game it is.
Paul Kitson, who had an inspired shorthanded goal, takes that ball into the corner where he is fouled.
That's exactly what it was, Al. It was an inspired goal. Kitson really feels that he's healthy and has not played perhaps as much as he'd like in this series.
Now remember, the St. Louis Steamers are on the power play here, and they will be for the next 1.5 minutes unless they score. Daryl Duran brings it up slowly for the Steamers. To the corner for Ebert, right in front, and Van Aaron slapped it out of the crease. Diego Pesa. Stopped in front by McAvan.
That man is dangerous anywhere. He really was in an area there that 90% of the players wouldn't even think about shooting, and yet Pesa got away a shot that was a challenge had it not been knocked down.
In the slot, Duran. His shot is blocked by Machia. And the no-goal patrol is really turning it on. Stamenkovic penalized for tripping. And he'll be in there for a maximum of 59 more seconds. The Blast concentration level had better be high for this restart.
Watch the man breaking to the middle now.
Redmond Lane blocked by McAvan. The shot blocking by the Blast extraordinary at this point. Daryl Duran on Tim Whitman, the point man. He scampers over to pick up Diego Pesa, and that shot is deflected into the crowd.
Whitman sacrificing his body, and I think we've probably not talked enough, Al, in the series. We've given so much credit to the St. Louis defense, but after game one, the Blast defense has been equal. And remember that while St. Louis finished the year #1 in defense, in team defense, the Blast finished #2, only something like 0.2 of a goal a game behind the St. Louis Steamers.
Daryl Duran, the restart, loose in front, swept away by Dave McWilliams.
Good feet.
Who has joined the no-goal patrol. Now Machia is taken down by Diego Pesa. He is called for tripping, free kick Blast. Time check, 35 seconds in the power play, 13:53 in the contest.
Top of the 5th at Memorial Stadium, Tigers and Orioles tied, a goal apiece there. I'm sorry, a run apiece.
The Blast win tonight, the championship is theirs. If the Steamers win tonight, there'll be a Game 6 in St. Louis on Sunday. Daryl Duran firing, blocked again by Whitman. Whitman almost on a streaking run, but only a last-second play by the speedy Irishman Redmond Lane of St. Louis prevented that attack. You can hear the crowd counting down the power play. And the Blast have survived the St. Louis Steamer power play, or they must endure one more second of it. Stan is out as McWilliams blocks that shot on the restart. Machia, 4-on-3. Machia leads the charge. He shoots. McWilliams can't get the rebound on a flying attempt. Steamers bring it back. Don Ebert with Bob McAvan. And KVE is there.
Well, the Blast sitting on their magic number. They have 5 goals in each of their 3 wins in the championship series. They have scored 5 goals.
Stamenkovic is fouled. That quick restart did not count. It will be taken again. Stan demanding his 10 feet. And he gets it. McWilliams in the corner. Out to Stamenkovic. And he gives it up to Diego Pesa. The Blast are quick to get back. Cacciatore. Centering for Bellinger. Right on Van Aaron. And what's the call? A foul against St. Louis. Free kick Baltimore.
Yeah, you may not agree with everything that Gino DiPolito does or says, but once he makes his call, it's hard to argue with him. That's the mark of a good official.
How can you expect to agree with him all the time, right?
You know what I mean, though? He takes control out there.
A man with conviction. And another whistle, this time against Don Draghi of St. Louis.
I guess DiPolito is kind of like the D'Amico of hockey. Takes charge out there. I was always interested to read about umpire school, and Ron Luciano, the ex-ump, his latest book, talks a lot about umpire school and how much time they spend on making their calls decisive and almost intimidating so that you don't argue with them.
Stamenkovic working the boards and working on Tony Bellinger. This time he loses it. Out to the speedy Jeff Cacciatore. 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The Baltimore Blast nursing a 2-goal lead, hoping that it's enough to carry them to the championship. Tony Bellinger. Cleared out by Juan Carlos Mejia. Steamers get it back through the efforts of Duncan McEwen. The high rebound for Draghi. I believe Van Aaron got a piece of that ball. Bellinger, Van Aaron again.
Hold on, Keith. Hold on to that baby. Hot potato coming in there.
Deep to the corner again. Ebert. It's like a hand grenade. Nobody wants it. Out now to Stankovic. He's got Ercole. It's 3-on-2. Stankovic waiting for the third attacker. The pass off target for McWilliams. Dave crosses it over for Tim Whitman. Just under 11 minutes to go. Whitman still with it. Finally gets it to McWilliams. Pat Ercole. Fanned on the shot. I'll say one thing. This is a completely different St. Louis Steamer team than we saw in the first half. Mike Stankovic gives it away, and Mike wants off. Time to take a breath. 10:23 to go in the fourth quarter. Blast 5, Steamers 3. Sammy Bick for Duncan McEwen. Ebert. Van Aaron is there.
Well, that's a good point, Al. Clements may have been renegotiating future contracts with the
Ercole fires. Kitson gets the rebound.
Yeah.
Sam Bick. Picked up by Paul Kitson. He is taken down, and a whistle stops play. And the Blast will own the soccer ball for the moment. Sam Bick for the Steamers. Feeding Ebert. Back to Bick. The dump and chase at the point. Ricky Davis. Duran shoots it wide. McWilliams. Foot race between Fink and Ilievsky.
Oh! Get that ball.
There it is. Scramble. It's in.
Paid the price for once. Dave McWilliams, Paul Kitson, Joe Fink, the workhorse line right now. And they finally make him pay the price. Slobodan Ilievsky with a nightmarish final game, perhaps, to the 1984 season. Look at the crowd. And this is the kind of play you gotta love. Joe Fink smelled it here. He just kept working, just kept chasing Ilievsky. Got it across to McWilliams, who sends an accurate shot in on a wide open goal and splits it down the middle. But watch Joey Fink, who smells it, just gives up, harasses him, and gets it across to his line mate. Dave McWilliams and Joe Fink have been so effective in this final series.
Dave McWilliams has been hustling and hustling and hustling, and he scores for the Baltimore Blast to make it 6-3. And I've really got to marvel at Dave McWilliams' awareness of where everyone was on the field He took that shot immediately upon receiving the pass from Fink. And it's time for Keith Van Aaron to change shirts.
But you know what I loved about it, Al, is Fink, his eyes just lit up. Is a money player, Joe Fink. And when he saw Slobo roam and he realized one time that Ilievsky had made the mistake and he wasn't going to let him off the hook. He didn't foul him. He didn't give the refs the opportunity to blow the whistle, but he made him turn it over. And he knew where Fink was, or he knew where McWilliams was. Look at the crowd. Look at this place on their feet.
I know there's a lot going on at Memorial Stadium right now, but this is the place to be tonight.
Look at the signs all over the place. One game better. And that's been the rallying cry for the entire 83-84 season, to get it to the final game and win it this year. 6-3, 9 minutes to go. It looks real good. I'll tell you.
The Steamers loose with the ball in front. Van Aaron dumps it out for a racing Paul Kitson. He chops it ahead.
Oh, look at this.
Gets the return. And now it's a foot race. The pace of this game is incredible.
Any fan of sport has got to love what we're seeing here tonight. The great athletic ability exhibited by both clubs. Bottom of the sixth now, the other game in town tonight, Orioles and Tigers still tied at 1. Storm Davis in a battle with Milt Wilcox.
Diego Pesa, block. Kitson with a break. It's 3-on-2. Joey Fink. And he got tangled up in traffic.
The Blast fans have been so loyal over the years and have become a knowledgeable group in addition to an intensely loyal group.
Diego Pesa beating Larry Hulser. Shots are blocked everywhere. Redmond Lane for the Steamers. The St. Louis Steamers are not giving up. Stankovic clears but not out. Blocked by Fink in front. 8 minutes to go.
When they get a stoppage, you've got to look for them to pull Ilievsky and go to Sam Vick as the 6th attacker soon. Look at this.
Mike Stankovic.
Left side.
He's got Stamenkovic all alone.
Well, I'll tell you, they got it to stand in that situation.
The St. Louis Steamers want a timeout. 7 minutes, 42 seconds to go at the Civic Center. The Blast 6, the Steamers 3. The champagne is on ice, and we'll be back.
Hey, what you up to?
I'm building a car. This is my baby.
But why?
To beat Legum's price.
Did you shop around?
You mean run around? Believe me, there's only one way to beat Legum's price. You gotta build it yourself.
Legum's got 84 Nissans for under $5,000. Maybe the only way to get it cheaper is build it yourself.
Yeah. Isn't she beautiful? Maybe I better read the directions.
Let me. Legum Chevrolet Nissan, 7900 Eastern Avenue, Beltway exit 38 West.
Hochschul's is having a secret sale with extra savings on everything you buy. But remember, it's a secret. Shh.
Secret sale starts today at Hochschul's.
Back live at the Civic Center with 7 minutes and 42 seconds to go. Let's take you back in time. Just moments ago, the St. Louis netminder way out of position, and the Blast take advantage.
Boy, Slobo has made a couple of blunders that will live forever, unfortunately, in St. Louis sports infamy tonight. What you gotta love about the Blast now this year, and who knows what the complexion of the team will be next year under a new owner and with so many free agents. But what you had to love this year was the combination of great skill and talent with the old Baltimore traditional earmarks, the hard work that we saw there from Fink and McWilliams, combined with the great skills of Mike Stankovic and Stan Stamenkovic that we've seen tonight. And it just made for a really entertaining year and at the same time satisfying one, probably capped tonight with an MISL championship.
As you can see, the St. Louis Steamers will employ the same tactic that they employed in Game 3 without any success. Except now, instead of doing it at the 12-minute mark, they'll do it at the 7-minute mark. They need 3 to tie with 7 minutes and 42 seconds to go. This is Sam Bick.
Did they not score 1 goal with the in the final 10 minutes or so with Bick on as the 6th attacker in Game 3? I think it was 5-1 when they brought him in. I may be wrong. On a deflection inside, I think. But this is the 20th time, I think, this year that Sam Bick has come on in this role. He's been very successful, and he had a spectacular goal, a game in goal.
Yeah, when he gets to the goal line, he can stop shots.
He's tough, yeah.
Bick brings it out. He feeds Redmond Lane. Ahead to Daryl Duran. Pushing is called against the Baltimore Blast.
Well, the way the Blast has played tonight, so loose and confident and freewheeling, it could be fun to watch them here with an open net.
7 minutes, 31 seconds on the clock here at the Civic Center. Outside for Diego Pesa, right through the box. No one able to get a foot on it. Kitson hits the scoreboard, and this will be a free kick for the St. Louis Steamers.
We want to remind our viewers at the conclusion of the game, if it continues the way it's going and the Blast wins the championship, Al Troutwig will be live from center field with a presentation of the championship trophy, and I'll be in the locker room with the victorious Blast should they hold on and win their first MISL championship. I guess that means there's nobody up here to handle the mic, Al, but we'll work it out somehow.
Of the 6 MISL championship years, this would only be the 2nd time that a team has won in front of its home fans. I'll make it the 3rd time. Don Ebert. Out to Sam Bick. Diego Pesa. Blocked by Machia.
When you get the 6-on-5, Al, you technically have an advantage. You have an extra man, but there's so many men on the field. You have 11 guys in that offensive zone, especially in a small arena. It's tough to find a path to the goal.
Up into the crowd.
Well, the excitement's got to be building down there on the Blast bench. It's been a long year. Started back on November 5. 48 regular season games. This will be the 11th playoff game for the Blast.
I'm not sure players were meant to play 60 soccer games a season.
Or 9 months a year, or 8. A lot of practice days in between the games.
The Blast trying to work on fill-in goaltender Sam Bick. He is the extra attacker now. 6 minutes, 23 seconds to go. Sam Bick brings it up. Blast lead at 6-3.
Uh-oh.
A foot race. Joey Fink may get there. He scores!
Brilliant. More speed than Joey's shown in about 8 years, I'll bet. But again, the veteran smells it. This is fabulous.
You remember back to Game 2 when Joey Fink was benched. He came back in Game 3 with a hat trick, and now he has 2 more tonight.
He just set up McWilliams into an empty net. Sam Bick doesn't have a... Joey winds up. Perfect. Perfect. Look at Fink take the last stride.
Not a very good angle to shoot from here either. Another break.
And it's Fink. It's Fink. Again. With that empty net tonight, Al, the way they were playing. Well, Richard Scher, our news anchor man on tonight's 6 o'clock Eyewitness News, wherever you are, you said 8-3, pal. It's sitting there right now. Not much to say about this one. This one's a little bit easier, Al.
Joey wanted to sniff the roses along the way.
Right.
He said, it feels so good to be here. Now let me just enjoy it for a moment.
We got to go down to Chris O'Donoghue right now to see what it's like on the bench. They get close to the coronation with 6 minutes to go. Chris, can you hear me? I'm telling you, the Blast bench, Kenny Cooper's ready to run out in the field himself. Got to be an exciting moment.
Well, the Steamers have returned Slobo Ilievsky onto the field. And the Steamer players are basically offering some encouraging words to Sam Bick. Here's Chris O'Donoghue. Go ahead, Chris.
Chris, go ahead.
Okay, tell me when.
You're
controlled pandemonium down here. The bench said the difference in the game from here on in is controlling space. Back up, but don't back into your own goalkeeper. Keep coming at them, and that's the plan from here on out. Back to you, Al.
All right, Chris, it's absolutely pandemonium and very, very loud. With just that little earpiece in your ear, it can be very difficult to hear at times.
There's Slobo about to get burned again. Nobody in goal.
Joey Fink, long shot.
Look at this. Oh! You couldn't write a better script. This is incredible.
There's the loneliest man in the arena right now, Dave Clements, the coach of St. Louis.
Clements says, I'll play goal. I give.
They're going to change Slobo Ilievsky to the goalpost one day.
Look at the shot, though, Al. Look at that shot.
Joey Fink, who is only one of 3 players to have a 7-goal game in the history of the MISL, now has 4.
And he has scored the last 3 in the last, let me see here, 8:53 in less than a minute.
Here's Fink again. 5:15 to go. Joey Fink. And reality sets in.
He has scored 3 goals in 40 seconds out.
That may be a record. Loose in front and kicks it clear.
Williams.
Stopped by Slobo. Mejia on the run. and a whistle stops play.
This is incredible. The crowd has been on its feet for 5 minutes, chanting, Joey, Joey.
It's a little like New Year's Eve in Times Square right now. Just slightly confusing.
I don't know. Could anyone have stopped this team this year?
Bob McAvan beating Tim Whitman. 4.5 minutes to go.
Ken Cooper talked about it in the dwindling moments of the regular season. If his club were to win the MISL, he would love a rematch with San Diego.
And they won it. So look forward to that in the fall. Baltimore and San Diego. Max Thompson misfires. And that one goes up into the crowd.
What a magnificent matchup that would be. But for now, I'll tell you, look at the crowd. Listen. Baltimore has lost a lot of the meat off its bones in sports, but what is left is prime.
It's unfortunate they're not watching this in Indianapolis tonight. Jeff Cacciatore. Out for Neil Cohen. Loose in front. Kunevats bangs it away. Mejia for Kitson.
They have become the LA Lakers of indoor soccer.
3 minutes, 38 seconds to go. What a night. Fink with 4 goals. Stamenkovic resetting an MISL record. And a whistle way back the other way. It's impossible to hear right now.
Steve Zungel holds the current mark out with 3 goals in 37 seconds. Now, unofficially, Fink scored 3 goals in 41 seconds here in the 4th quarter.
So he misses by 4.
And maybe more importantly, added an assist 2.5 minutes before that to McWilliam.
I'll tell you the funny thing, though. I was there when Steve Zungel did it in 37 seconds, and not to take anything away from Joey Fink's mark, but there was no empty net that night. Saved by Van Aaron on Bellinger. Still in all, that shot by Joey Fink from midfield into the open net was something else.
Joey Fink's going to sit there like a Cheshire cat with a smile as wide as his face when this one's over and keep it there for about 2 or 3 months. Oh, boy. Should the Blast go on to win? 9-3, I think it's likely. Should the Blast go on to win? Victory Parade, Monday night, Harbor Place, 6:30 p.m. Be there.
Up into the crowd. A moment to thank numerous people. Dave Clements, Kenny Cooper for their help. Kirk Rohn, the publicity director for the St. Louis Steamers. Mary Miklas of the Baltimore Blast. And to our illustrious statistician, Micah Bookdahl, up here in the Civic Center. Micah's been helping us all season long, and it's really great to see a familiar face.
And who pointed out just then that Keith Van Aaron, surprising to some of us in the booth, the greatest number of minutes in playoff action of any goalkeeper in MISL history. Special thanks, you mentioned Kenny Cooper, certainly, for all the things that he's done, well documented. But for his accessibility and for making our Channel 13 final series broadcasts here, I think something really special, with allowing our camera and our reporter on the Blast bench to really bring the home fans and the viewers the special excitement of Blast soccer. And he makes us sound good, Al. I mean, he's very candid beforehand and afterwards on what exactly will happen, what we can look forward to seeing.
It is the Baltimore Blast 9, the St. Louis Steamers 3. How nervous the moments were when the score was 3-2. Kenny Cooper pondering, enjoying.
Even up to 5-3 out. And when we started the fourth quarter, when Fink just took over and fed McWilliams and then scored 3 of his own.
Keith Van Aaron clears it off the line.
You almost have the feeling they're having so much fun right now, they don't want it to end. But there are but 2 minutes, 9 seconds left in a great season. Van Aaron just pounds it out of harm's way over Max Thompson's head. Under 2 minutes now left in the final game. St. Louis across midfield. Van Aaron clears it away. McAvan ahead to Whitman on the left side. Al Troutwig now working his way down to midfield where he will present the championship trophy of 1984 to the Baltimore Blast. 9-3 they lead. Under 1:30. The fans on their feet. It's off Frosty. McWilliams breaks out. Fink on the left side. Fink scores! In Ken Cooper's eyes. I imagine in the eyes of many of the viewers, the spectators on hand tonight, a very special moment in Baltimore sports history. Look at Ken Cooper. Joe Fink, Dave McWilliams, and his old friend from Philadelphia days on the left side to Fink, who has been magic. Beats Ilievsky through the legs, into the goal. His 4th goal of the final period of the year. In a span of 4 minutes exactly. 4 goals for Joe Fink. And an assist, saved by Van Aaron. Under a minute. 10-3 the Blast leads. On the verge of writing a special moment in Baltimore sports history. Stamankovic with a steal. Taken away. 3-line pass with 38 seconds left in the 1984 MISL season. Dave Clements, the St. Louis coach. Ken Cooper. And the congratulations begin, the tears. What a feeling indeed. McEwen, Lane with a shot on goal. Knocked away. 30 seconds left in the season. The fans on their feet. Stoppage in play. Steamers with a kick in. It's all academic. 10-3. Joe Fink with 4 fourth-quarter goals and an assist. 5 points in a wild fourth quarter. Max Thompson gesturing for the fans to scream, let it loose, let it out now. 12,007. An all-time Baltimore Blast record for attendance on a night when the Detroit Tigers were in town to play the Orioles. The din is deafening and sweet. Kitson with a steal, 20 seconds. Stankovic on the left side, in the corner, 15 seconds. Stankovic inside, taken away, 10. Count it down with the crowd. A stoppage in play. A stoppage in play, a near fight. Duncan McEwen, Mike Stankovic. Stankovic muscling inside, was wrapped up by an unidentified St. Louis player. When they broke it up, Duncan McEwen came in, put a little shot to the back of Stankovic's neck. And then a scuffle. An unfortunate way, but the frustration understandable on the part of the Western Division champion St. Louis Steamers. And now the crowd puts it back in perspective. Ken Cooper taking Mike Stankovic to the box. Let's watch it again. In the corner, Stankovic with a shot and retaliation from Neil Cohen.
WJZ-TV, Channel 13, Baltimore. We are experiencing technical difficulties and are working to correct them. No adjustment to your set is necessary. Please stand by.
We are back after some technical difficulties. Mike Stankovic has been sent to the penalty box. There are 8 seconds left in the final game of the MISL season. Stan Stamenkovic, the MISL's leading scorer. The MISL champs indeed. 10-3 in the deciding game of the championship series. There is Mike Stankovic involved in the altercation with Mark O'Mara. Dave McWilliams. Slobo Ilievsky. The officials talking it over. They'll play off the string. Let's get it underway and finish it. Dave Clements and now Ken Cooper sprinting over. Very upset about something. Chris O'Donoghue standing by on the bench. And now Dave Clements and Cooper in a heated argument.
Number 5, Mike Stankovic. St. Louis, number 18, Neil Cohen.
Neil Cohen and Mike Stankovic sent to the box. Let's go to Chris O'Donoghue. Chris?
Joey, how many goals did you get? You don't even know. You said 4 or 5.
I'm not sure, Chris. I'm kind of wrapped up in everything. I think 4 or 5.
Tell him it's 5, Chris.
The game is over. We won it. It's been a long season.
First to congratulate you. Congratulations, champ. Back to you, Lou.
Chris O'Donoghue with Joe Fink. Perhaps the greatest, the highest scoring American player in the MISL. Mike Stankovic is being sent to the locker room, ejected. Neil Cohen on his way out. As you can see, Cohen really not
to make a championship
the instigator there.
We promote the Blast here in Baltimore. Let's show the MISL what kind of fans we really are.
Bill Roth urging the crowd, the public address announcer, to finish it with a flurry here. An unpleasant moment, but really not a nasty or unsavory one. The frustrations of St. Louis' third straight loss in championship play bubbling over in the final seconds. A team that really threw the whole arsenal at the Blast in Game 4 in front of their home fans, 15,000 of the faithful there, and came up short in overtime. Played a sloppy, mindless game at times in the first quarter. Paid the price. Rallied within 3-2 midway through the third period, but then Joe Fink with the score of Blast 5, St. Louis 3, wrapped it up with 4 fourth quarter goals. And this will do it now. Enjoy, Baltimore. The Blast wins the deciding game of the MISL Championship 10-3 and takes the series in 5 games, 4-1. Ken Cooper with his goalkeeping tandem that may, after all, have been the key to the great success for the year. Another look at the great crowd, the great fans of the Blast. That is Fran Roden, the wife of outgoing Baltimore owner Bernie Roden. Now congratulating Ken Cooper. They started together in Houston, moved the franchise here together, have been great innovators and leaders in a new sport. After this.
With little or no down payment at Legum Chevrolet, you can drive away in a Chevy Chevette with factory air conditioning for only $39.84. $39.84 full price.
At first, I couldn't believe it, but Legum really does have Chevy Chevettes just like this one for just $39.84. And they're air-conditioned.
That's right. If Legum says it, you can believe it. Drive away in a fully equipped Chevy Chevette with factory air conditioning for only $39.84 at Legum Direct Outlet, 7900 Eastern Avenue.
Welcome.
Working a charter, your days belong to somebody else, but your nights are all yours.
To Miller time.
Now comes your time with the best beer you can find, Miller High Life.
Bring your thirsty self right here. You've got the time. We've got the beer for what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller time.
I've got for McDonald's, it's right on my tongue. I've got to McDonald's, I'm gonna have some. I can almost love those shakes. McDonald's, yummy, yummy. I've got a taste for McDonald's, I've got a taste for.
Welcome back to the Baltimore Civic Center, the home of the world champion Baltimore Blast. The 1983-84 Major Indoor Soccer League champions. We've been happy to bring it to you on Channel 13. Tonight in Game 5, the Blast trounced the St. Louis Steamers, the challenger, 10-3 to take the series 4-1. A spectacular fourth quarter performance that will be remembered for a long time. A new chapter written in the young history of this league when Joe Fink fed Dave McWilliams for a goal to break it open at 6-3. And then Fink himself scored 4 goals in a span of 4 minutes. 5 minutes, check that. A remarkable performance, and now the culmination of it all for...
Can everybody hear me?
For the fans here and the fans at home, Alan Troutwig standing by at midfield for the presentation of the championship trophy. Al?
Not only are we enjoying this here, but everyone that's watching Channel 13 right now across this city is enjoying it with you. I think one thing we saw tonight was just how much both these teams wanted to win, down to the very end. And it's time to award not only trophies to the winners, but trophy to the team that did an awful lot, the St. Louis Steamers. I turn you over now. Turn you over now to Mr. Bruce Hudson. Mr. Hudson.
Thank you, Al. Would Sam Beck please come up here? On behalf of Anheuser-Busch, I would like to present the Budweiser MISL finalist medallion to Sam and the St. Louis Steamers.
Sam Bick, who played the 6th attacker role, one of the original Steamers of St. Louis and a native. He was really one of the fine players throughout the series.
Which will be given to the remainder of the Steamers as well, signifies excellence in the game of indoor soccer. Congratulations.
And the Baltimore crowd recognizing a great gutsy performance, particularly here on the Baltimore turf, by the Steamers, who only win came here in Game 1.
Would Dave McWilliams please come forward?
The captain of the Blast. Two goals tonight for McWilliams.
Dave, on behalf of Anheuser-Busch, I'd like to present the Budweiser MISL Championship Medallion to you and the remaining players of the Baltimore Blast.
Dave McWilliams and the
This
squad
medallion
still on hand.
signifies soccer supremacy in the MISL. Thank you.
I didn't want to leave out the viewers who may be watching in St. Louis right now as well. Their team has been there many times, and well, they're certainly one of the best teams that this league has ever known. It's time now to award the player who has stood out among the best. And Mr. Bruce Hudson will now award the MVP trophy right now.
I'd like to award the Budweiser Most Valuable Player of the Championship Series to Scott Manning.
Scott Manning awarded the Most Valuable Player trophy, the goalkeeper for the Baltimore Blast. The winners in games 3 and 4 in St. Louis. 30 saves in game 3, 25. And look at the appreciation from Keith Van Aaron, who won tonight's game. Kenny Cooper, who took a journeyman goalkeeper and helped turn him towards the most valuable player in the league championship.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are saying hello to a champion for the very first time. But we are also saying goodbye in the Major Indoor Soccer League to someone who began the entire thing. Commissioner Earl Foreman now has a few words and will present the championship trophy.
Lest we forget at this moment, the St. Louis Steamers had an outstanding and a wonderful year. They won their Western Division title, they advanced through the quarterfinals and the semifinals, and they engaged in a magnificent championship series with your Baltimore Blast. And in the great tradition of our sport, I'm going to ask you here this evening, as surrogates for the fans in St. Louis, to rise and give a deserved hand of applause to the Steamers. Baltimore has a rich, proud, and enduring tradition and heritage in professional sports. The Baltimore Blast are now an integral part of that heritage and tradition. Kenny and the Baltimore Blast players, I know how meaningful this championship is to you. I extend to you the congratulations of the league. Bernie Roden, you should and you will be long remembered as the person who brought the Blast to this city. Pleasure that I present to you this trophy, which symbolizes the fact that the 1984 champion of the Major Indoor Soccer League are the Baltimore Blast.
My friends, I have been enriched to be loved in this city. I have to tell you that I will always remember the greatest fans in sports. This has been a difficult year for this city. However, we now have a new name for Baltimore, the City of Champions. We have in our team some of the finest athletes and human beings I have ever known. people who have worked with charity, people who have gone to meet school kids, people who have marched for every charity in the city because they love Baltimore. This is a victory that the Baltimore Blast have given to the people of the city of Baltimore. We had our pain this year, and we had our suffering, and I'm referring to other sports agonies in the city. But we have, with the Orioles and the Blast, nothing but beauty. We have a proud heritage that we can move into the future. I want to thank you, Coach Cooper, Mitch Burke, and all the members of the team. I'm going to miss you, and I'm going to miss you every time I think of tonight. You will always be in my memories. All I can tell you is you're sending me out like a champion. I leave, and I thank you for what you have done for me and for my wife, Fran. We both salute you and the fans of Baltimore. Thank you.
There you have it. Bernie Roden holding the championship trophy aloft now. Ken Cooper and Bernie Roden, and indeed that tandem has brought championship soccer to the city of Baltimore. The Baltimore Blast, the 1983-84 MISL champions.
A celebration that lasts throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We gon' celebrate.
Bernie Roden, Ken Cooper, Captain Dave McWilliam, and your 1983-84 World Indoor Soccer Champions, the Baltimore Blast. Celebrate Baltimore, enjoy the weekend. We will be back with you Monday evening at 6:30 for the championship victory parade. The championship parade, Monday evening, 6:30, Inner Harbor. This victory lap will conclude there. We'll see you then. It's been our pleasure on Channel 13 to bring you the championship series. Chris O'Donoghue, Alan Troutwig, I'm Lou Tilley, and this entire championship series is being brought to you by Legum Chevrolet. And by Lightmere from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. Have one on us, Baltimore. Glad you could join us for a great moment. Ken Cooper and his champion Baltimore Blast. From the Civic Center in downtown Baltimore, where the Blast has defeated St. Louis for the championship. Tonight, the final score, Baltimore 10, St. Louis 3. We'll see you later from the locker room.